conversion programme. Call 9186 206 or email donald.hannigan@atu.ie.
Thanks for your company this morning, this Thursday. Oh, Gregory Hughes is back.
He's back, boy.
Yeah, I was expecting
2-day week.
I know, and I got slagging yesterday from Caroline. She says, because I came back yesterday, right, and took off Tuesday, because you said you were taking off Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
So I says, that's a good idea, isn't it? Enjoy the good weather. And then Caroline says I was a part-timer coming back on a Wednesday.
Well, what does that make me?
You're a timer.
I'm not even part.
Or a part. You have.
Listen, 2 days off, 2 days annual leave, lots of time off. Don't hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Well, out foot and turf, out kayaking.
Were you up in the bog?
Yep, was up in the bog out.
Were you fitting?
Don't tell Eamon Ryan now. By the way, should I have said that on there? Is that legal? I don't know. Who cares?
You says footing. I would say fitting.
Well, no, I said fitting.
You says footing.
I said fitting.
It's like quads and quads. What is it?
Oh, pronounce and pronounce.
No, you're getting too posh for me now. But so, how long did you do the fitting or the fitting?
Oh, full day.
And what's a full day for you?
3 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. All right, good luck to you. Right, go on ahead.
All right, Lee, see you tomorrow morning. It is 9 o'clock, time for news. It's much longer than 3 hours, though. People take the ad breaks out and they say it's actually really 2.5 hours. All right, it is time for news update. It's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The government is set to make a financial contribution of €1.5 million to the European Union. It's because the state can't afford to provide accommodation to an additional 350 asylum seekers. With more, here's Sean O'Regan.
Ministers at a cabinet meeting later this morning are set to approve this contribution. The joint memo is from Justice Minister Helen McEntee and Integration Minister Roderick O'Gorman. It follows on from the state failing to meet its commitments under an EU voluntary solidarity mechanism. Part of that mechanism was an agreement that an additional 350 international protection applicants could relocate here. The scheme requires member states to accommodate refugees or pay a financial contribution if they can't. So, because of pressures on accommodation from the over 80,000 refugees and asylum seekers already here, the government is going to offer to pay €1.5 million instead.
A national fodder survey has been ordered by Agriculture Minister Charlie McConalogue as drought conditions begin to bite on farms. Met Éireann has confirmed such widespread and prolonged dry conditions haven't been recorded since 2018, when farming suffered a severe drought and fodder crisis. The Irish Farmers Journal is reporting this morning that grass growth has plummeted, particularly in the south and east, with concerns growing about second-cut silage crops. The Farmers Journal editor is Katrina Morrissey.
What Met Éireann has said to us is that 25 of its main weather stations have now recorded between 15 and 26 dry days. 15 is the bar to reach for drought in an area, and all of Met Éireann's stations, the main stations, have now recorded drought conditions. With 15 to 26 dry days, what has happened is that grass has not grown.
The HSE is encouraging people who are eligible to get their COVID-19 spring boosters in the coming days. The programme winds down next week. People aged 70 or older and those aged 12 or older with immune systems that are weak are urged to act now. The vaccination centre in Letterkenny opens today and tomorrow, and also on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday of next week. A pop-up clinic operates tomorrow in Stranraer. Full details on our website. And there are 22 cleanups registered in County Donegal on today, World Oceans Day. 340 volunteers will take part across the county. It comes as the World Meteorological Organization warns oceans are facing serious consequences from global warming, with global mean sea level reaching a new record high in 2021. The International Coordinator of Coastwatch, Karen Dubsky, says education is key.
Loads of little things can be done. The other thing is that a lot of families are now going to the beach to discover and look at things. Teach small children how sensitive and fragile things are. So learn more. Go softly on the ocean.
A bright start with some good spells of sunshine, turning hazy this afternoon with cloud continuing to build. Staying dry and mild though, with highest temperatures 18 to 21 degrees Celsius today. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love. 2. Great special offers like get 2 large Super Value Signature Taste pizzas plus 1 Super Value Garlic Baguette 2-pack and 1 selected Super Value Coleslaw, all for €8. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. So follow the 1, 2, 3 and save money at Super Value.
The county's number one talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show for this Thursday, the 8th of June 2023. How are you doing? I do hope you're all very well indeed. Thank you very much to Donald Kavanagh, who sat in for me Wednesday and Tuesday. It feels like a lifetime since I've been at work. And what brilliant weather we had. And I'm lucky enough to have the health to get out and enjoy it. And I hope you all did too. Let us know what you're up to, what you're doing, and have your say on the topics of the day. 086 60 25,000. Those lines are now open. You can give us a call too on 07491 25,000 if you so wish. And also you can email comments at highlandradio.com. All right, it is a Thursday, which means there's a plethora of papers. So let's run through and pick out some news stories from the front and inside of them. The Tyrconnell Tribune, over €92,000 has been raised as a result of the 2023 Relay for Life Donegal, but with money still to come in from the various teams who took part, the final figures expected to rise further, which is a cracking figure. And while the funding is on the up, Chairperson Robert O'Connor has confirmed his intention to step down from a position he's held since the first relay in Donegal back in 2012. And he let me know this when he was in for a chat last week, and hopefully Robert will come in when he has a bit of time and sit down and have a talk about his life and his involvement in relay. So he committed to do that, so we'll have him in studio in the not too distant future. Well, at the Sunday's closing ceremony, Treasurer Drew Corrie announced a figure of 92,411 raised through the efforts of the 29 teams who took part in this year's event, and still counting, as he indicated. It would be great to see more teams involved, though. I think they had over 70 when it first started, and it is one of those diseases, cancer, in that it will affect half of us, but it will affect all of us directly and indirectly. And I hope that money, of course, that money, I don't hope, I know that money is going to go to a great cause. And we were there for a bit on Saturday as well, and it was lovely. It was really, really nice. I think it was Saturday. It was Saturday, yeah. The Donegal Democrat, what do you think about this? Some 1,750 Ukrainian refugees could be housed on a cruise ship in Killybegs. It's following a proposal by a local businessman. The plan would see refugees temporarily housed on a cruise ship docked in the fishing port. The document was submitted last September to the Department for Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth by the group, which includes the former Killybegs Harbour Master, Captain Jay Kelly now. The proposal aims to ease current accommodation problems by housing refugees on the ship on the north side of the pier, which they claim would not obstruct fishing boats or interfere with local businesses. Now, this was a proposal that was some time ago, and there are incredible pressures, I suspect. I wonder, maybe it's contained in the rest of the article here, if those proposals have been rejected at this stage. As a group of Donegal businessmen, I read on here, with extensive marine industry and managerial experience, we propose to manage the following solution on behalf of the government to provide accommodation for up to 1,750 Ukrainian refugees. A spokesperson for the group, Philip Mulville, told Donegal Live. So it seems they're still active proposals. Okay, you can read more in the paper there. What do you think? 1,750 Ukrainian refugees in a cruise ship on the pier at Killybegs. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be an issue in terms of housing or a room for that matter, but that's not often what the issues are, is it? It's about the services that are available, not just only to support that amount of people, 1,750, but also the population that already exists in terms of local GP services and so on and so forth. But anyway, we'll see what they come up with that one. Just as I say, want your views coming into us as well. The Donegal News tells us that a survey attendances at masses in the Raphoe Diocese has shown that congregations are continuing to decline. Figures released by the diocese have revealed how in one church in Donegal, an average of only 5 people attended weekday mass. Bishop Alan McGuckian has called on clergy and the faithful to use the result and plan for the future as not simply a matter of managing decline. The survey of the diocese, 33 parishes undertaken between February and March, heralded change is certainly coming, the bishop said. So why did you, if you are a Catholic, and not everyone listening is, Why did you stop going to Mass more recently? Is it that you don't have the time in the day, that you don't see any benefit from it? Are you one of these people? And maybe this is a private question, but we're not asking anyone to state anything publicly. Are you the type that sort of, you continue to be religious, but you just don't see a benefit personally in going to Mass? And if you don't go to Mass, then is it fair to roll up for your Holy Communion or your confirmation or your wedding, or for that matter, your funeral? Because people's relationship with church is changing. There's just no doubt about that. But why did you stop going? If it was more recently, I think if you go back a certain period of time, there's a lot of people, and I would have known some of them, that didn't like what was going on and just disengaged with the attendance part of it. But there's a new generation of people, children, that aren't being taken to Mass, and why not? Oh wait, is it something that the church needs to change, or is it just a change within you? 08660 25,000, and maybe you continue to be very religious, but you just don't see that as a necessity, or maybe you just have chosen to stay watching Mass remotely, where that option is available to you. As I say, just be interesting to have a conversation as to why we are seeing those declines. 08660 25,000. The Dairy News tells us this morning that young people on dirt bikes are going to end up killing a child, according to a concerned parent from the Gallia area of the city. Speaking to the paper, the parent said there was a near miss between a dirt bike and a child playing on the green area between Gallia Park and Fairgleen last week, I beg your pardon. They are going to end up killing somebody, said the parent. There are a couple of alleyways in the area, and there are lots of young Waynes playing there, and if they fly down on their bikes and scooters, they're going to end up killing a Wayne. Now, if you want to get involved in that conversation too, from outside the Republic, 003538760 25,000. Perhaps some good news in terms of your weekly shop, because we're anticipating a price war now. Tesco has this morning announced that it is going to reduce 700 products by an average of 10%. So they're not your staples per se, as in, your flour, your bread, your milk, butter and things like that there. It's across the range. So if Tesco do it, and of course then they can bring out their adverts saying we're cutting the cost of your weekly shop, you would hope then that others might follow, and they might even go a little lower, who is to say? But if you could save 10% per week on your big shop, wouldn't that be really good news? Households are to get some relief, we read, from soaring grocery prices as the supermarket price war moves up a gear. Tesco will cut the cost of hundreds of products, and other retailers say they are reviewing their prices. Tesco is reducing prices by an average of 10% across more than 700 products. The move's expected to force a response from rivals Lidl, Don's, SuperValu and Aldi. The reduction represents a stepping up on recent cuts to the price of own brand bread, butter and milk announced by the main chains. The decision to reduce prices across a range of goods comes as grocery price inflation has reached record levels. Research from Kantar said prices rose by 16.5% in the 12 weeks to May 14 compared with the same period last year. Now, we'd love to see them return because it's costing us an average €1,200 extra a year. And now maybe we can mitigate some of that by choosing different brands, or maybe trying to reduce our food waste, which is astronomical. I think it was discussed on the programme yesterday. But anything that sees 10% going off your weekly shop, I think has to be welcomed. Right, the Irish Times this morning. State to pay EU 1.5 million to house 350 asylum seekers. The state will pay 1.5 million to a European relocation system because the Republic does not have the space to accommodate an additional 350 international protection applicants. Now, if they're safe elsewhere, 1.5 million seems like a relatively low fee given the millions that are being spent every week on accommodation. Well, Minister for Justice Helen McEntee and Minister for Integration Roderick O'Gorman will receive cabinet approval today for the 1.5 million financial contribution which will be made to meet the state's commitment under an asylum seeker relocation system known as the Voluntary Solidarity Mechanism. The state previously agreed to accept an extra 350 international protection applicants as part of the solitary agreement. Imagine they've missed out words on the front of a national newspaper. That's crazy. Which sees international protection applicants relocated in various EU member states. Right, let's go on to the Mail, I believe it is. Yes, indeed. Just in case you were wondering, Taoiseach Micheál Martin has confirmed, and he said it on this show, but his mind hasn't changed. He has confirmed he intends to lead Fianna Fáil into the next election, while Public Expenditure Minister Paschal Donoghue has pledged to stand again. Mr Martin was asked to confirm his intentions as worries emerged that the party leader, who has been at the helm for over a decade, could leave for a nice wee post in Europe. I'll be leading Fianna Fáil into the next general election, and that is my objective, he said yesterday. Now, I'm not sure that necessarily means he actually is, because if he said yesterday that I'm giving it strong consideration, well, that would automatically de facto trigger a leadership campaign, wouldn't it? So I wouldn't say that it is a lock-on. I think he has options. I think politically he's achieved everything in politics that he wants to. I think we're in a thankless period of being a politician at this time. So perhaps if he could get a nice cosy post in Europe, now's the time to go. So even though he has committed to leading Fianna Fáil into the next general election, I would have my doubts on that. But then he goes on to say, I think we should go full term with this government. I intend to lead the party full term and into the next general election. The Taoiseach admitted he has been asked about different positions as rumours swirled that he might be eyeing up a role as an EU commissioner, but he reaffirmed that he will be leading Fianna Fáil. So if you're a Fianna Fáil supporter, do you welcome that news, or would you like to see someone else have a crack at it? And if so, who? 08660 25,000. The Farmers' Journal this morning, concerns are growing that farm payments under acres could be at risk if the required scheme work is not completed on time. Agricultural advisors have told the Department of Agriculture they're under severe workload pressure due to the range of new cap schemes, coupled with 46,000 farmers being accepted into acres. Their most immediate concern is the walking and scoring of 600,000 hectare of land in the scheme and the submission of grassland and habitat scorecards. How are your young ones, if they're doing the Leaving Cert, faring? It's covered in the front, inside the Irish Daily Star today. Leaving Cert students experienced a well-pitched and broadly appealing paper for both the higher and ordinary level English Paper 1 exam, an expert said. Lorraine Tuffy, who's also an English teacher at Jesus and Mary Secondary School in Sligo, says students sitting junior cycle higher had a bizarre and ill-fitting challenge. She added that those sitting the ordinary level paper had a challenging but comfortably manageable exam. Now, when you see them going in to do their Leaving Certs, you don't envy them, do you? Tell us your Leaving Cert stories. Do you have a story from you? I don't, because I didn't do mine. I left it before that. But did you do your Leaving Cert? What was it like? Any horror stories for us? 08660 25,000. They're all in school now anyway, aren't they? They won't know what we're talking about. Let us know. Not good news if you're a variable mortgage holder on a tracker mortgage. The Sun tells us that hard-hit mortgage holders are facing 2 more interest rate hikes in the coming months. The Irish Central Bank Governor has warned. Gabrielle McLouf expects the European Central Bank to keep on increasing rates, and indeed they committed to that themselves, and they say they will keep rates as higher for as long as it takes to suppress inflation. But hard-hit homeowners already reeling from a series of interest rate hikes which have sent their mortgage repayments soaring have been told to brace for more pain. Central Bank Governor expects rates to remain elevated for longer than markets anticipated. And there are some people in just dire situations. Anyone with a variable mortgage, I mean, there's a lot of people have the capacity to absorb some increases, so we'll accept that, won't we? But there are those, particularly with vulture funds, and I would love to see the government do something about enabling people to switch from a vulture fund to a pillar bank. A mechanism that would allow that to happen would give people an awful lot of more hope. But there are people stuck on really high interest rates, and as they go up further. And it's often, not always, but it's often people that have a defective concrete house or have the least resources, the least at the end of the month, that end up paying the highest, which happens an awful lot across society, doesn't it? Which is really, really unfortunate. So hopefully, I'd love to see some action in regards to that issue. And the Irish Daily Mirror today tells us that more animals are being abandoned, abused or neglected since the pandemic ended. The Irish Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals launched an urgent emergency appeal yesterday called Stop the Pain, following a sharp rise in cruelty cases across Ireland. They said the surge, which began following COVID-19 pandemic, is placing a significant financial burden and demand on the organisation. ISPCA Chief Cyril Sullivan said the number of cruelty cases and neglected animals was expected to be double the number of this year compared to... Again, this is there's more spelling mistakes in the newspapers. I can't understand with all the editors that they put it in and have extra words and some words missing. But anyway, ISPA Chief Cyril Sullivan said the number of cruelty cases and neglected animals was expected to double this year compared to 2022. And I think their central accommodation is packed at this stage. What's going on there, I wonder? Is it that people... Is it the cost of living and they can't afford to feed their pets? Is it that they got a pet during lockdown, which seems a lifetime ago, but their life has changed, and there are responsible ways to move an animal on, isn't there? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be speaking to the ISPCA about that a little later on, just to get a real sense of what's going on and the dire need that they have, and if you are willing to, how you might be able to help. Okay, that was a run through the papers this morning. I want to wish a good morning to Elaine, Charlie, Paul, Dolores, Marie, Audrey, who are watching our live stream broadcast across our social media, YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. Very convenient to watch on your phone, tablet, your smart TV, or indeed your Fire Stick. We're across Facebook as well, Highland Radio Ireland, Highland Hub, and you can also catch us on Twitter and on our website. Just click Watch Live. Okay, our first guest on the show will be joining us very shortly, and it's a good news story in terms of education. Stay right where you are.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
Connolly's MG now open in Colony, County Sligo, the latest addition to the Connolly Motor Group family. Find your perfect MG driving experience with the award-winning range of fully electric and hybrid vehicles at our new showroom at Northwest Business Park, Colony, County Sligo. Inquire about our full range today with our team on 071 910 6950 or visit our website connellys.ie.
2 gig full fibre broadband from Virgin Media has landed in Donegal. Hear that, Aoife?
Huh?
Time to lose yourself in the latest Scandi crime series.
I have no idea what's going on here.
You should really put on the subtitles.
Fair point.
Whatever your genre, whatever way you play, Virgin Media is here. Switch today at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
Subject to location and availability.
Enjoy summer with Home Store and more. We have everything you need for garden living. Bring your garden to life with our great range of garden furniture. We've rat and corner sets, dinner sets and much more. And when it comes to barbecues, whether it's gas, charcoal or smoker, we've got what you need to cook up a storm. Also, there's fire pits, chimeneas and patio heaters, gazebos, solar lights, garden decor and much, much more. Visit us in-store or shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Make your garden your sanctuary. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Buncrana Music Festival, Friday 30th of June and Saturday 1st of July, featuring Scouting for Girls, Jake Bug, Hermitage Green, Pa Sheehy, Sive Skelly, The Midnight Preachers and Riva. Buncrana Music Festival, Friday 30th of June and Saturday 1st of July. Get your tickets now at buncranamusicfestival.com.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
It's 22 minutes past 9. This is the 9 till noon show. Okay, so regular listeners would know we carried the story here over concerns that... a new school building for Gaelscoil na Cathamaistre in Donegal Town was being deferred, and fair play to parents and staff, I'm sure. They got together and said, no, this is not going to happen here because we've been in prefabs since this school was founded effectively, and we now need proper facilities. And it looks like that's going to happen. Deirdre O'Gara is of the Parents Association and joins us now. Hi, Deirdre.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me on this morning.
It's great, and thanks for accepting the invite. Okay, so the sod is going to be turned, the official sod turning tomorrow. It's It's fantastic news. It's historic too.
It sure is. It's it's absolutely fantastic. 1 p.m. tomorrow we will be turning the sod, and work has commenced at the school. So it really is. It's great news, and it really is a historic day. We've had a long wait since 1999, since the doors first opened.
And it's been a roller coaster, hasn't it? And the big dip, not in a positive way, was when it was amongst that group of 60 plus schools that were sort of shelved, and we had that concern that we could lose the contractor and what have you. And thankfully, it was a very anxious time, but now those fears have been allayed.
Yeah, exactly. We were so close to starting back then, and just for it to be pulled from under our feet, we were really upset. We were devastated, I suppose, as such. But to have managed to overturn that outcome, it's brilliant. But, we have such support from everybody, from yourself, from all the local radio stations and papers, and even national papers. So I suppose for only for the support that we got, we wouldn't be where we are today. So we have to thank everybody for that.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think the credit goes down to the people that organised and got out on the picket line, so to speak, and done up the placards, because that made it more easy to sort of get behind it, if you know what I mean. So fair play to those of you. That's where the credit goes, as far as I'm concerned. I think there's a duty in the media, and they have a duty to back the people, but it was you guys that sort of gave the media something to back.
Yeah, that was never our plan. We never wanted to be out protesting, but unfortunately we had no choice, and just thankfully it did work for us. And you go to the school today, the diggers are there, and the work has commenced, and we'll have a new school come September 24.
And does that make the official sod turning, do you think, with everything that's been gone through, even more significant and even more of a cause for celebration, and for current and past people and parents who've been through the school to come out for this event?
Yes, it definitely has. Now we've decided to make this day, a joyous day, and for all the kids that is there, for the past pupils, present pupils, parents, and all the Gaelscoil community as a whole. So we've invited everybody 1 o'clock tomorrow to celebrate it, and just to have a great day for the kids.
Brilliant stuff. And where is the school being built as it relates to the current prefabs, Deirdre? Is it behind them, in front of them, on top of them? I don't know.
No, so we're very lucky. We have quite a big site.
Right.
So the school has been built in 3 phases. So the first phase is the actual school building itself, and that will be completed in September. That will be completed in the summer of 24 and ready to walk into it in September 24. So that's been built at the entrance to the school in the grounds that we never use, because it is quite a large site. So for all of next year, the school will continue in prefab. There'll be no having to move them or nothing. The school will continue as normal. And then once the first phase is opened, the second phase will be removing the prefabs and building the S&A unit.
Right,
and then the final phase will be just the groundwork.
Yeah, it's all very exciting. Okay, brilliant. It's going to be a great day. It's tomorrow at 1, isn't it? Or today? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, yeah.
Excellent, okay. Yeah. And as you say, it is a time for celebration. There's no point raking over the past. We are where we are now, so it'll be a brilliant thing for the kids.
It really is a time for celebration.
Yeah, and they'll be able to see the progress as it goes on too, which will be really exciting for them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It really is. It's a great news story, But just we really have to thank everybody that helped us to get where we are today. We've a lot of the local community. We've had quite a few politicians. We've had Joe McHugh who's been by our side the whole way, and he really needs to be recognised for it. We've had Thomas Pringle, Pierce Doherty. They fought for us in the Dáil when we needed it. And as I said, yourselves, you were just all brilliant, and only for you, we wouldn't be here today.
Well, as I say, I think it's down to you guys. But anyway, Deirdre, we could battle that one out all day. I'll let you get back to it. Thanks, Deirdre. Take care of yourself.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Greg.
All right,
bye
bye-bye.
now.
That's Deirdre O'Gara there, who is of the Parents Association of Gaelscoil na Cahermaestre. The diggers are on site. Isn't that great? And also the sod is being turned officially tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and they are inviting past parents, pupils, teachers and the wider Gaelscoil community to share that special day of celebration with them. And as I say, in Donegal town there, it's sort of on the Old Lahey Road, and but sat nav it if you're going, if you don't know where it is already. And that all kicks off tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. A caller says, hi, if Ironmore Island's population is dwindling, could we not get some Ukrainians to move there? Another, we need to do something about our transport at night time, especially at festival time. Seeing people out for all hours dependent on friends and parents to leave them home. They should be able to sleep at home. No taxis or buses. It is a shame. Yeah, indeed, I agree. This caller says this country is a disgrace. Why were these suggestions for housing citizens never put forward before? But I don't think any... The problem with homelessness is countrywide. It's particularly focused in Dublin. Their rate is significantly higher than here in the northwest. A lot of people that are homeless require more than just a cabin on a cruise ship. Do you know, they require lots more supports than that. I don't think putting a cruise ship in Dublin Harbour and all of a sudden saying to the homeless people who are homeless or rough sleepers, get on the cruise ship, that's not how it works. I believe, anyway, and I could be open to correction here, hotel rooms, cruise ships, temporary accommodation for people fleeing a war, yes, but in terms of the homeless in this country, we need to build proper, adequate housing. If there are other supports that are required in terms of whatever it might be, in terms of financial supports, or maybe there could be issues with addiction, I don't know what it is, then that's a different thing altogether. And we should be able to do both because we are incredibly well resourced in this country, we're told all the time. So, you know, I think that the homelessness issue, the 12,000 plus people now that are homeless, and the many more that don't really have certainty about their accommodation, surely a cruise ship or a hotel is not a solution to that problem, is it? But I'll read this person's text in full here, of course. This country is a disgrace. Why were these suggestions for housing citizens never put forward before? It's all down to the huge money landlords are being paid. The quicker the rate to house the Ukrainian community falls to the same as other citizens, the quicker we might see more equality in availability. And another one on that issue, no mention of the sewage from a cruise ship or doubling the population of Killybegs. It's not right pushing refugees on small villages and towns in Ireland with no consultation or discussion of the cultural or social implications. If there was a war in Ireland, would Ukraine put us up on a cruise ship on the Black Sea and pay us money and feed us? Hardly. Why don't they put the cruise ship on the Swilly to house mica-plagued families? Again, I'm not really sure a cruise ship on the Swilly is a solution to the people affected by mica. They require modular homes, affordable homes. They require payment breaks on mortgages, whatever it might be. I don't think housing them on a... And I could be wrong. If anyone's affected by that and they'd welcome a cruise ship in the Swilly, please let me know. 08660 25,000. Right, okay. We are going to be talking about a new wellbeing programme to combat loneliness. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up just after this break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Are you dealing with nagging health issues that just won't go away? Well, look no further, because Letterkenny Medics is here to provide you with the very best medical care for minor surgery that includes cyst removal, partial or full removal of ingrowing toenails, and joint injections for pain management. Let our professionals look after you with no long waiting times and immediate appointments available now. To book, go to letterkennymedics.ie or call 07492 02955. Letterkenny Medics. We listen if you want to talk.
We all want a world where everyone feels welcome and included. But where do we even start? How about right here at your local SuperValue? SuperValue's Pride Rainbow Laces are just €2 and are available to buy in-store now. Proceeds from the sale of the rainbow laces will go to support Belong To, a national organisation supporting LGBTQ+ young people across Ireland. Take action, lace up and wear with pride, because at SuperValue we believe community includes everyone.
Summer is sizzling, and so is the Easy Living Furniture Summer Sale, which has just been extended. With absolutely everything reduced, now is the time to spruce up your space with stylish furniture and unbeatable savings. From cosy sofas to elegant dining sets, we have the perfect pieces to transform your home. But hurry, this sizzling summer sale is only extended for a limited time only. Don't miss out on the hottest sale of the season. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
With July around the corner, it's time to get your 232 ordered. With finance starting from 2.9%, find out why Kia is dominating the Irish market. With diesel, hybrid and electric models. Order before the 30th of June and receive a €500 Super Value gift card as well. Call into iMotors today and choose your new Kia.
Don't miss the Kerrykill Vintage Rally this Saturday, 10th of June. Enjoy a great display of stationary engines, cars and tractors. There's also trade stalls, crafts and demonstrations, live music and children's amusements. That's the Kerrykill Vintage Rally at the church grounds this Saturday from 12 noon. This ad is sponsored by Wiriski's Eurospar and Ice Cream Parlour, Ramelton.
Now, Ireland has the highest levels of loneliness in all of Europe. In a survey carried out by the European Commission's Joint Research Centre, Ireland is the only country across the bloc with more than 1 in 5 people saying they feel lonely. The EU's average is only at 13%. The lowest levels of loneliness were found in the Netherlands, Croatia and Austria. We are joined on the programme now by our next guest, who is Maureen Kavanagh, CEO of Active Retirement Ireland. Hi, Maureen. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's good to have you on the programme. Right now, I suppose you're going to focus on maybe older people, but I presume this loneliness captures people across all generations, also people who might feel lonely even if they're not alone. But talk to me about Active Ireland's initiative, their new programme.
Thanks very much, Greg. Active Retirement Ireland is a national network of older people. We have 450 local active retirement associations all over Ireland, and we have over 20,000 members within that. And obviously during COVID, all our activity stopped from the 20th of March onwards. All our local groups closed down, all our regional and national activities, same as the whole country. And what we found is that because a lot of older people didn't have access to the internet, didn't have access to digital skills, found themselves without their vital social networks that had been so important to them. So as the group started to come back, we were looking at, well, what was the impact of COVID on the mental health of older people? Because we'd been involved in a survey with an alliance of organisations called Telling It Like It Is. And that survey showed that older people were impacted hugely by the restrictions. And it did impact on them. It made them feel old for the first time in their lives. It made them feel more vulnerable. And for some people, the 2 years of lockdown was too much in that they felt they couldn't come back.
What it also did is, I think, from talking to people, it made them feel the problem. It made them feel the burden. You know, because young people, you can't do this because of granny or granddad or whatever, you know. And I think a lot of the language too, if you were in that, if you were a part of that cohort, you would go, right, well, am I the problem here? But also what I would hope to, because we do move on really quite quickly. And for a lot of people, no one wants to remember lockdown. But I think we should remember elements of it, because I think a lot of us got an insight into loneliness, into isolation. You know what I mean? And we shouldn't forget that. And maybe that can help us sympathise and understand more what it must be like for the older people affected, like we're talking about. We should be able to empathise with them more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't just older people, Greg. It was anybody that was vulnerable. And it was done, you know, it was done in an emergency. It was done for the health of the country. And, you know, and now that we're moving out and we have to look, you're right, we have to look at the lessons learned. So what we decided to do in Active Retirement Ireland was to look at, well, what have older people done themselves to bring themselves back out of lockdown? And out of that came this wellbeing toolkit. So we started with a grant from Mental Health Ireland, and we did consultations with older people who had come back out. And what we found is that people were able to use their social networks and their local active retirement groups to talk about their experiences. And that really, really was like a salve and a great support for people. And they were able to share experiences. And there was a joint coming together of a similar experience, because once you were over 70, it didn't matter whether you were in the perfect health or not, you were actually restricted. And they were able to voice their anger at that as well and assist we assisted them to put that into the words of that it was ageism, that it wasn't about you being a vulnerable older person. It was just, they're 70, there you go, you're on lockdown. But it's about moving on then, and what do we need to do next? So this wellbeing toolkit was developed from that. And the members themselves said, look, we don't like the word toolkit because that feels a bit like fixy. So what we want to do is we just want to call it a wellbeing program, and the second name of it is called Laugh More, Stress Less, Live Better. And they're the very words of older people themselves. And this toolkit is based on what people did to bring back something normal back into their lives and within their groups. And it opens conversations on what matters to older people. It creates spaces for people to share their experiences and to share their things that they did, and also to draw on the experience and wisdom that we have within Active Retirement Ireland and our 20,000 members.
Yeah, and I suppose there's so many different people affected in different ways. Like, I've spoke to people, older people, who come out of lockdown singing and dancing effectively and got straight back into everything. I speak to people who are still cautious. They still believe that the adverts that are running, if you're over 70, get this and it'll help you protect that. And I understand why that has to be done, but that feeds into their natural nervousness, and they still feel that, right, it's still out there. I can't really go out and enjoy my life as I did previously. And then there are those who felt isolated before COVID and nothing has changed. I've spoken to people who don't speak to a person from one end of the week to the next. Can all of those people benefit from this toolkit, do you think?
Yes, indeed. And that's what we would hope. We would hope that it would be there, that people will be able to pick and choose elements out of it. And even if it gets somebody who has been isolated and lonely pre-COVID, and they're listening and they're saying, well, I always knew there was groups out there, but I don't know how to join them. Then what we're saying to them is, have a look around. What's in your area? Is there something nearby? Is there something that you can do? Is there a neighbour or friend that you know that might go to one of those groups? Would you go along with them? And what we're saying to people who go to groups, and be those active retirement groups or whatever they are, is there somebody that you think you could extend that hand of friendship and say, would you like to come along with me to the next group? And because we do know, and international research has shown, that social connections are vitally important for reducing loneliness, for improving health, and for just getting people out there and talking.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's going to be, I think, an urban-rural divide here, because, there are options for people in more urban areas in terms of bus connections or maybe something being closer to them. Sometimes you can live 1 kilometre up a lane in parts of the northwest, and there is no way you could attend something in the nearby village. I suppose that's where someone could offer a lift or what have you, or maybe even the rural link can play some sort of a role in this as well. You know what I mean? But we have to give people, if they're mad to get out and do something, we have to be able to enable them to do it too.
Absolutely, Greg, and I agree. And I'm from a very rural area in County Waterford, and I have to say the local link has been the best thing that has come in to the area, because it comes through the village now a couple of times a day. But equally, I do know people that would live 2 miles away from where the local link can stop, and they just don't see that as an option. But there are options, like for people to look around. Is there a GA club in your area? Is the GA club doing a walking group? Is the local active retirement group in the area, who are the members of that? Could I go along and get a lift with somebody to that group? So it really is about getting information out to people, and for people to be able to, if they're going along to Mass on a Saturday evening or on a Sunday, is there a little newsletter nearby that you could look at to see what are your options? And if not, pick up the phone and ask citizens advice. Is there anything in the area? So if you're going to the post office to pick up your pension, try and talk to somebody to see, is there any group in your area? What are the notices up on the notice board? So it's about, I suppose there's a bit about yourself having to say, I don't want to live my life like this, but also, so what do I need to do? But there's also a bit about communities all over Ireland stepping into the shoes of somebody who doesn't have access to the internet, who doesn't have a great social network, might know about things. How do we get information out to them?
And also,
your
I
own,
think
like local radio is absolutely fantastic. It is the best way of reaching people across Ireland.
Yeah, and I think older people, and not just older people who haven't really gone back out since COVID, we miss them. You know, we want to see them again and chat to them and have the crack. You know what I mean? Like, we miss them. If they're listening now and they don't go out as much as they used to, I want them to know that we miss them, and we want them to sort of, you know, get back out there again, because these are the people, communities on whose shoulders are built, and also just our people that we miss when we don't get to engage with them. Now, if you laugh more and stress less, you live better. You will live better. You don't want to be. You don't want to be sort of running down the clock. You know, you get out there and as I say, stress less, laugh more, engage with people.
And that's what the whole ethos of Active Retirement Ireland is about. It's about creating a social network for people to get together, to have fun, to learn something new, to do something, to keep active, keep well. Local active retirement groups bring in speakers on various different issues, and it is run by members. It's run by volunteers. Like, this is all run by volunteers right across the whole country, and it is a truly participative and active organisation at grassroots and local level. Yeah. And it's a great organisation, I have to say.
I think this text is probably typical, because it can be difficult for families too, who've an older person that they love and care about, and they can see the change in them. Do you know what I mean? And they're not out as much as they used to be. So maybe you can offer some advice. People have to want to make the move themselves, but maybe you can help. And it reads as follows. My aunt is one of these people, but she's very quiet in nature, and we cannot get her to take the first step to join anything. How do you think we can best support her to make the first call or the first move? So they don't want to force her into anything, and she perhaps wouldn't allow them to either, but they think that she would benefit greatly from joining up with something or getting involved in a group or a club or something.
I suppose what I'm thinking here is that if that was my aunt, the first thing I'd be doing is asking, well, what are her likes? What does she like to do? Does she have access then to information about those likes? Does she know, or is it just a general, I'm really concerned about my aunt and I know she would benefit from getting out? But sometimes that can be very daunting for somebody to take the first steps into what am I going out to. So it really is about understanding what is it that would get your aunt out the door. Would that be going to a coffee shop and having a bun? Would it be going up to the local library or whatever that would be? I don't know, but it is about understanding and having that, just have that conversation. And that's what this toolkit is about. Yeah. It's about have the conversation. What is it?
Could it be a choir? Could it be amateur dramatics? Anything. It could be knitting,
absolutely.
Woodwork, whatever it might be. Yeah, it's finding what she's interested in and showing her a pathway to it.
And Greg, I would also say to that aunt, if she's listening, is that like, what is it that you really, really want to do? Or is there something that you always wanted to do and never did? And you might be able to do that in a group of people that are around the same age as you, that all hold the same fears of stepping out the door and trying something new.
Yeah, because it can be chicken and egg too, Maureen, because we don't know how people are feeling. It could be anxiety. It could be a form of depression. You know what I mean? We don't necessarily think it could. I think maybe sometimes we look and go, well, is it because you just don't really want to go out? We can put little barriers up for ourselves and maybe talk to her about how does she feel about going outside? How does she feel about interacting with other people? How does she feel in herself? Is she worried? Is she anxious? These are all emotions that might stop her taking that first step as well. So maybe talk to her about those things, and maybe you can find out a little bit more about her in the process.
Absolutely. And just for some people out there, the social group is not the way that they want to go either, but it might be something. There might be something out there for them. And it might be just a visit to a library. It might be a visit to an art gallery now and again. And some people are very happy to sit at home and listen to their radio and watch their television, knowing that someone will call and say hello to them, because I think that's what it is.
It is. Some people just like to go out into the garden and want to get back indoors in time for the chase. And if that's what makes them happy too, that could be it. How do people access the wellbeing programme?
At the moment, we're rolling it out through the local active retirement groups. So if there is a local active retirement group in your area, that is where you'll get to know about it. But we're training up older people to be facilitators themselves to deliver the programme in the local active retirement groups. And then after that, we will expand it out, hopefully.
So we kind of have to get people engaged with the local active retirement groups to get access to this. So it's a little bit of a roadblock, that, isn't it?
It's not really, because this is a brand new programme and we do need to test it and we do need to pilot it. But there are elements of it that people can look at and go, do you know what? That little bit there that says about having good conversations, that's something that I could do.
Yeah, okay. Listen, it's been lovely speaking to you. Thank you very much indeed, Maureen. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Maureen Kavanagh there, who is... Maureen is CEO of Active Retirement Ireland. So if you have something going on in your local community, particularly for older people, and maybe you would like to see numbers boosted or what have you, please get in touch with us and we can promote it for you as well. And it would just be really nice if one person listening was connected to one thing in their area. So wherever you are across the Northwest, if you have something going on for older people, because sometimes you can be right next door to something and not really realise it's happening, I'm more than happy to read it out here. So text it into us. So call Caroline 086 60 25,000 if you want to jot down a text, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. And, you know, Letterkenny, but outside Letterkenny, right across the region. If there's something going on in your area and you'd like to see new members who you think might benefit from it, please get in touch with us and we will hopefully be able to get someone engaged. All right, we'll be back after this short break.
Looking for a fun family day out? Century Complex has something for everyone this summer. With delicious food at Backstage, hours of fun at Century Play, and exciting new releases coming to Century Cinemas, including Little Mermaid, The Flash, and Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. Visit centurycinemas.ie for more information.
An Grian in Erin, wishing if you bacalash.
Cínte tá bagan bag Grian tiltain.
She alja kraken an alja is cutchinta in Erin. Is coming to Vesavalja no Harlar. Cousin the kraken, three came in a clishta than Grian a lanunt.
Caia di fada scuilte, curuchter Grian art. Ca art hata Grian. Fan fui scan a Grian fewer leighanta scamalacha.
Agus na dain darma there in a spakely Grian.
Land came in a clishta than Grian. O aimenacht na service slainte agus eiris laintul.
Summer is sizzling, and so is the Easy Living Furniture Summer Sale, which has just been extended. With absolutely everything reduced, now is the time to spruce up your space with stylish furniture and unbeatable savings. From cozy sofas to elegant dining sets, we have the perfect pieces to transform your home. But hurry, this sizzling summer sale is only extended for a limited time only. Don't miss out on the hottest sale of the season. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
Summer sale now on in Milford Tiles. 20% off wall and floor tiles, 15% off all bathware, 10% off all wood flooring. Fitters and delivery service available. Call Milford Tiles on 083 0910 707.
Tired of unwanted hair? L'Amour Beauty Skin and Laser Clinic, Shore Road, Ramelton is offering an exclusive June special. Free laser hair removal consultation, and when you buy 2 areas, you get a 3rd area for free. For more specials, visit L'Amour Beauty Skin and Laser Clinic on Facebook.
Step into summer with Green Shoes. Check out their large selection of summer sandals from favourite brands like Birkenstock, Doc Martens and Echo. Also choose from Heavenly Feet, Una Healy, Imac and many more. Shop LK and One for All vouchers accepted in store. Green Shoes at Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre and in Fulcara, or shop online at greenshoes.com.
1 in 12 cancers went undetected during the first 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic, a report from the National Cancer Registry of Ireland has estimated. Rachel Morrow is Director of Advocacy and External Affairs with the Irish Cancer Society and joins us now. So, Rachel, good morning to you first and foremost.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I am good. Right. I suppose when you were sort of gathering this data, would 1 in 12 have been where you thought we'd be at, or less, or more than you might have expected, I wonder?
So we know, Greg, that there was a shortfall in the numbers of cancers diagnosed in 2020, and that number was around 2,600. And then yesterday we learned that in 2021 that 1,700 cancers weren't diagnosed. So it's really concerning for us in the Irish Cancer Society, because that indicates that around 1 in 12, like you said, Greg, were undiagnosed in 2020 and 2021. And what we're worried about is that this means that people may have been diagnosed at a later stage, although we're not able to tell that yet. But everything that we were hearing during those years, 2020, 2021, was that people were putting off getting advice around signs and symptoms. They were finding it more difficult to access health services because, as you know, there were longer waiting times, and the health services had to be spread between COVID care and cancer care and other diseases. So that was more challenging. And of course, the demographic that cancer hits is also the same demographic that were most vulnerable to COVID. Those tend to be older people. So actually, some of the numbers that underline these findings yesterday, it may be that people actually passed away before they would normally have been diagnosed of cancer in a normal year.
Yeah, and were there particular cancers less likely to be diagnosed?
We saw a shortfall in a number of cancers. They were different in 2020 compared to 2021. In 2020, because the screening services, they were paused for a period of time, as you know, Greg, that those cancers that we screened for, so cervical, breast, and bowel cancer, we saw a drop in the number of cancers that were diagnosed during 2020. In 2021, those screening services, they thankfully recovered, and we saw a bounce back in those cancers. But over both years, we saw a shortfall for liver, pancreatic and kidney cancers. And these are cancers that are generally diagnosed later stage. So we do have a concern that maybe these were diagnosed at a much later stage, and that would have an impact on somebody's survival and ultimate quality of life as well.
Rachel, do we know what measures are being put in place to ensure this never happens again, that lessons have been learned? Because we never know when something similar might happen again. It might not even be a COVID, it could be anything. But to ensure that we don't end up creating a problem, a significant problem, which we actually can't put figures on, in terms of deaths and what have you, and worsening outcomes. Are you satisfied the Department of Health are making sure that this never happens again?
Look, I think, Greg, that without exception, everyone was focused on trying to mitigate the impact of COVID on cancer care, and the Irish Cancer Society, we were making representations on behalf of cancer care and cancer patients, and decision makers, they were very mindful of trying to continue to deliver non-COVID care during the pandemic. And actually, urgent cancer care, it was prioritised. The government put a lot of money into cancer services, but despite this, I suppose the health system couldn't operate as normal, and I think that obviously did have an effect.
Yeah, but retail could, Rachel. Do you know what I mean? We have to. I understand exactly where you're coming from and what you're saying and why you have to say it, okay? But we were able to maintain services in other areas. We have to make sure that if something like this ever happens again, that we are able to continue care in critical areas such as cancer diagnosis. I don't think there's any way around that. We have to make sure we don't make the same mistakes again.
I think that, one of the lessons that I'd point to is that, the health system had only been resourced to meet the immediate requirements of the most urgent patient. And in my mind, that isn't healthcare, that's sick care. And that was very much the model onto which the pandemic was layered. So our health system was beleaguered going into the pandemic. It hadn't been resourced adequately. It lacked the resilience it needed when it was faced with this crisis. So while COVID it revealed the true fragility of our health services, but it wasn't the cause of the systemic vulnerabilities. And I think that the lesson to learn there is that the health system and our healthcare workers, they need to be constantly nurtured, constantly invested in, developed, expanded and valued. Because if we do that right, then maybe the pressure on the acute and primary care systems during future pandemics may be less.
Yeah, but there's lots of questions, like what were people that work in cancer diagnosis doing during COVID? I mean, do you know the answer to that? Were they working elsewhere in the health service, or were they at home, or were they in the building not actually accepting patients?
Absolutely. They were doing their very, very best in very difficult circumstances. And we know that the toll of the pandemic that it had on our healthcare workers, they had to do more with less. And I think that, it's actually down to the cancer workforce and other people working in the health service that the impact of the pandemic on cancer care
wasn't as bad as it could have been. Okay. Rachel,
exactly.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. You too, Greg.
Okay, bye-bye. Rachel Morrow, Director of Advocacy and External Affairs with the Irish Cancer Society. News on the way.
Your cat probably loves all the typical cat activities. Heading out for a drive, getting their nails done, and walking the red carpet. Keep them living their best life with Gain Elite Cat Food. Proudly Irish and formulated for 9 life living. It's got all natural ingredients, recyclable packaging with pro and prebiotics for digestion and immunity. Gain Elite Cat Food. Available at premium pet stores nationwide. Special offers available in participating stores. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at the Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Celebrate Father's Day at Foyleside. Join us Saturday 17th of June, 1 to 4 p.m. and experience our thrilling VR driving simulator to win prizes. Challenge Dad to mini golf or capture memories with vintage cars, including the iconic DeLorean, with donations to Foyle Hospice. Plus, free draw to win a supercar driving experience. Father's Day at Foyleside. See you there.
Most people say that Donegal is the coolest place on the planet, but up here we know that sometimes it can be the coldest. Charles Brunner & Sons Ballybuffet is the one-stop shop for all your heating needs. We have a huge range of multi-fuel and wood pellet stoves and ranges, spare parts for all major stove and range brands, plumbing and bathroom ware, all at exceptional prices. So visit our showrooms where our friendly and experienced team will be ready to help you. Charles Brunner & Sons Ballybuffet and the stovestore.ie, where you can always do a good deal better.
Inishowen Vintage Weekend this Saturday in the marquee Carrickfield, Moville. It's DJ Rudders followed by the Celtic Nights. Doors open at 8 p.m. with a late bar. This ad is sponsored by the Corner Bar Moville. Newly refurbished ensuite accommodation and live music every weekend.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Finance Minister says a new report into potential government spending highlights the need to be careful about how to spend windfall tax receipts. The Fiscal Advisory Council has been warning against any giveaways on budget day, saying the money should be used for environmental concerns and the ageing population. IFAC has regularly raised concerns about the pension age and the capability of the state to keep up with costs. Finance Minister Michael McGrath says changes will need to be made over time, but that doesn't necessarily include increasing the pension age.
Changes to the system of PRSI over time, and I know Minister Humphreys, Minister of Social Protection, is working on a PRSI reform roadmap, so there will be increases in PRSI over the coming years to ensure that we can keep the pension age unchanged.
The government is set to make a financial contribution of €1.5 million to the European Union. It's because the state can't provide accommodation to an additional 350 asylum seekers. With more, here's Sean O'Regan.
Ministers at a cabinet meeting later this morning are set to approve this contribution. The joint memo is from Justice Minister Helen McEntee and Integration Minister Roderick O'Gorman. It follows on from the state failing to meet its commitments under an EU voluntary solidarity mechanism. Part of that mechanism was an agreement that an additional 350 international protection applicants could relocate here. The scheme requires member states to accommodate refugees or pay a financial contribution if they can't. So, because of pressures on accommodation from the over 80,000 refugees and asylum seekers already here, the government is going to offer to pay €1.5 million instead.
A national fodder study has been ordered by Agriculture Minister Charlie McConalogue as drought conditions begin to bite on farms. Mid Éireann has confirmed such widespread and prolonged dry conditions have not been recorded since 2018, when farming suffered a severe drought and fodder crisis. The Irish Farmers Journal is reporting this morning that grass growth has plummeted, particularly in the south and east, with concerns growing about second cut silage crops. Its editor is Katrina Morrissey.
What Met Éireann has said to us is that 25 of its main weather stations have now recorded between 15 and 26 dry days. 15 is the bar to reach for drought in an area, and all of Met Éireann's stations, the main stations, have now recorded drought conditions. With 15 to 26 dry days, what has happened is that grass has not grown.
The first sod will be turned tomorrow in Donegal town at the site of the new Girls' School Nagaramashtree. The school's been based in prefabs since it opened, and the new school building was to have started some months ago. It was delayed at the 11th hour as part of a public expenditure review. That sparked a major campaign, which culminated in a protest during a visit to the county by Minister Norma Foley. With work now getting underway, Parents Association member Deirdre O'Gara told Greg on today's 9 till noon show it marks the culmination of a long and hard campaign, but now they're looking to the future.
The school has been built in 3 phases. So the first phase is the actual school building itself, and that will be completed in the summer of 24 and ready to walk into in September 24. So that's been built at the entrance to the school. For all of next year, the school will continue in prefab. There'll be no having to move them or nothing. The school will continue as normal. And then once the first phase is opened, the second phase will be removing the prefabs and building the S&A unit. The final phase will be just the groundwork.
And you can hear that full interview on our website, highlandradio.com. The HSE is encouraging people who are eligible to get their COVID-19 spring boosters in the coming days, as the programme is set to wind down at the end of next week. People aged 70 or older and those aged 12 or older with a weak immune system are being urged to act now. The Letterkenny COVID-19 vaccination centre will be open today and tomorrow, and also on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday of next week. Meanwhile, a pop-up clinic will operate tomorrow in Stranora. Full details available on our website. And there are 22 cleanups registered in County Donegal today, World Oceans Day, with 340 volunteers set to take part across the county. It comes as the World Meteorological Organization warns oceans are facing serious consequences from global warming. International Coordinator of Coastwatch, Karen Dubsky, says education is vital, and that, she says, starts with families.
Loads of little things can be done. The other thing is that a lot of families are now going to the beach to discover and look at things. Teach small children how sensitive and fragile things are. So learn more. Go softly on the ocean.
Weather forecast, a bright start with some good spells of sunshine today. It will turn hazy this afternoon with cloud continuing to build, staying dry and mild though, with top temperatures of 18 to 21 degrees Celsius. A mostly dry evening with some good clear spells at times. Cloud thickening later. Lowest overnight temperatures 9 to 12 degrees Celsius in light easterly breezes. Starting off fine and mostly dry tomorrow with a light to moderate easterly breeze. More cloud building later in the afternoon. That'll make the sunshine hazy at times. Top temperatures tomorrow 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. Back with the headlines again at 11 o'clock. Good morning. The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, the 8th of June. The death has occurred of Seamus Kelly, Stranaclay, Illies, Ballymagan, Buncrana. His remains will repose at his home from 3 o'clock this afternoon. Funeral on Saturday morning at 11 in St Mary's Church, Cockhill, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Maeve Murray, née Nolan, Castlebaan, Letterkenny, reposing at her daughter Dee McGowan's residence at Lisnenan until 10 o'clock this evening, with rosary at 9. Funeral from there tomorrow morning to the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Ballyrain, for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed online on the parish YouTube channel, followed by burial in the family plot in Cornwall Cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Hillcrest House Residents Comfort Fund, care of Pascal Blake, funeral director. The death has occurred of Philip Donaghy, Smokey, Anno Clonmany. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there on Saturday morning at 10:30, going to St Mary's Church, Clonmany for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with interment afterwards in the new cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Clonmany Community Centre and St Columkill Village, Clea Clonmany, care of any family member or McFeely Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. The funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Fanny Russell, née Gamble, Churchtown, Garton, Church Hill. Fanny's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow to St Columba's Parish Church, Church Hill, for service at 4 o'clock, followed by interment in Garton Cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The funeral service can be viewed live on Charlie McLafferty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Muriel McGrath, née McNamee, Rowan House, Maharenan, Letterkenny, formerly of Glenties. Reposing at the family home at Rowan House, Maharenan, today from 12 noon until 10 p.m, with Rosary at 9. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Ballyrain, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on the parish YouTube channel. Interment afterwards in Conwell Cemetery, Letterkenny. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Hillcrest House Nursing Home Comfort Fund, care of any family member. The death has occurred of John Midlashan, 6 The Rock, Glenties, formerly of Vale of Leven, Alexandria. John's remains are reposing at his late residence, with wake today from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Funeral service tomorrow morning at 11 in St Connell's Church, Glenties, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. House private, please, before the funeral tomorrow. The funeral service can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Una Patton, née Gallagher, 196 Ballycoman Estate, Strabane, reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:15 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Foyle Hospice, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. And the death has taken place of Moira E. Wheelhelen, née Nicahun, 70 Ashlone, and formerly of Boher Andulin on Cararua, Galiev. Funeral today with 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Ballyrain, Letterkenny, followed by interment in Newleck Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on the parish YouTube channel. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Love a space to call your own. Live in the better built surroundings of a Glenveigh home.
Love having a sense of place. Live for shaping it from the get-go.
Love green spaces and the joy of outdoors. Live where lower environmental impact is a way of life.
In a home built more sustainably for comfort, quality, and for people putting down roots just like you.
Love where you live. Community inspired and shaped by you and Glenveigh.
Home of the new.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Yeah, indeed. We're broadcasting live on YouTube every day for the full 3 hours. You can see most of the guests that come on the show as well. Just think of it like a TV programme without all the drama you might see in ITV. You can get us on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. That's for your phone, tablet, laptop, smart TV. As I said before, most smart TVs now come with the YouTube app loaded on it. Might as well use it. Also, your Fire Stick, it's handy there as well. We're also on Facebook. Facebook Watch was taken off the Fire Stick. That's why I'm sort of favouring YouTube a little bit at the moment. Facebook is Highland Hub or Highland Radio News and Sport. And you can click Watch Live on our website as well. Right. Good morning, says this listener. I'm 56. And sometimes I'm lonely at times and spend the whole weekends without talking to a living soul. Where are these groups? How do I find out? I'm not religious, so church newsletters aren't an option. I'm willing to join groups, just don't know where or how to access them. Right, listener, if you would do me a quick favour, if you could send me, text in where you are-ish. Do you know what I'm on about? You don't have to give me your address, your air code, but you know what I mean. What area are you in and what are you interested in? And I'll announce that and hopefully we can connect you with a group. That's what we want to do here. That's part of what we do here. And other people are coming in with suggestions. So if you have something going on in your area, maybe you want more female participation, more male participation, you're a voluntary group, particularly focused on the elderly, but not exclusively, and you want more members, get in touch with us and we'll announce it for you. And hopefully we can connect 2 or 3 people with something for them to do and make them happy. And I would be going home happy if that were the case. So you're 56, you're very young to feel like that. And there's loads to do. We just have to connect you with something that you want to do. I mean, even myself there, I'm trying to do more. I wasn't doing much. I was coming to work and going home and loving that, don't get me wrong, but other stuff as well. And we went to Port Salon there the last day or two ago, and we got in kayaks. I got a kayak, and Hugh from Eco Atlantic Adventures, and I can't recommend Hugh highly enough, by the way. If you're interested in trying kayaking, and there's loads of others out there as well. I just happened to be with Hugh from Eco Atlantic Adventures. Look them up on Facebook. We went up from Port Salon up to the Seven Arches and back, and it was wonderful. And it doesn't take a ton of energy either. I'm not incredibly fit, I don't think, but it was very manageable, and you get to see all the caves and things like that as well. So, there's lots of things to do out there if you connect with the right people. And we had a great time. And it was a remarkable experience. And we were commenting as we were doing it that there's people fly. It was like something, when you go up the coast there from Port Salon, you're transported into somewhere like Thailand or something, you know what I mean? It's how you imagine it might be there. People flying across the other side of the world for experiences like that. And there they are right on our doorstep, paddling through sea arches and into caves that you can only just squeeze in, and then you turn at the back of the cave and come out again. I mean, it's just stuff you would not forget. And it's great if you have a guide as well, because then you have the confidence to know that you're not doing anything that could harm you. Animal always suffers. Animal will always suffer. We live in such a cruel world. If I could save all animals, I would. It breaks my heart how they suffer. Yeah, indeed. I know how you're feeling. Right, okay. Traffic heading into Twin Towns bad this morning, we're told. Yeah, indeed. Hopefully that improves soon. Right, and there's a couple of other things here that I just want to go through. And then I'll announce as the morning wears on. But I do have to take this quick break because I know there's many of you out there waiting on your bingo numbers. It is jackpot day as well. And don't forget, by the way, if you want to play bingo, you can play it at any stage here, and you support the National Council for the Blind of Ireland. You can pick up your books. If you have a look around the counter of most shops, they're there. It's €5 to play, €1 per day. We have hundreds of euro given away. We should really be screaming it from the rooftops when you think. There's hundreds of euro won every day, or it builds up and then it's won on the second or third or fourth day. There's people winning big money all of the time, and also we have this crazy jackpot on a Thursday that you could possibly win as well. But all the while, whilst having a bit of fun, you're supporting the National Council for the Blind of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday the 8th of June. Jackpot day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €17,800 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S14. It's game number 23. The jackpot number is 76. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 11. 81, 59, 88, 38, 84, 7, 9, 14, and finally 58. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Why leave all the magic moments or great scenes you've captured on your phone sitting there or in the cloud when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using the McGee's app or one of the in-store kiosks, you can upload your photos from your phone, Google Photos, Facebook or Instagram and have them printed instantly within an hour or in by 10 and ready by 5. See mcgees.ie for more details. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
New this week in Home Store and More. All clothes hangers are all half price. That's right, all clothes hangers are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price hangers are gone, they're gone. Also, all camping is still all half price. But when all the half price camping is gone, it's definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Arcadia Retail Park, Athlone. Home Store and More. A happy home.
House Proud Summer Sofa Sale is now on across all stores. Sofas starting from just £399 plus an extra 15% of everything in store. Scorching hot deals with thousands of sofas in stock and ready for delivery. And buy now, pay later finance available. Call in to our Strabane Superstore located in Abercorn Square or shop online at houseproudfurnishings.com.
All right, reading in the Irish Farmers Journal today that the majority of the country is in, officially, absolute drought. Amy Foes, Deputy News Editor with the Irish Farmers Journal, and joins us on the programme now. Hi, Amy.
Good morning.
So, I mean, we can officially categorise drought and absolute drought, can't we?
Yes, we can indeed. So as you said there, the majority of the country is in an absolute drought with below average rainfall forecast as well for the next 2 weeks. Met Éireann has told us basically what is an absolute drought. An absolute drought is where an area experiences 15 or more consecutive days with less than 0.2 mil of rain per day. So anyone that has been looking out a window over the last number of days and weeks will know that we've got barely any rain at all in the last week or 10 to 15 days, and the majority of the country is in drought at the minute. Matthew Martin of Met Éireann has said it looks like it will gradually break down from the weekend on, and that the high pressure that's been blocking any nasty rain showers that a lot of us don't want will retreat to the north at the weekend, and this will allow showers on Friday night and Saturday. In one way, this will be music to farmers' ears who have obviously been very busy cutting silage and hay over the last number of days and weeks. They're kind of facing an issue in terms of regrowth, so for a second cut of silage and to have grass ahead of cattle and sheep essentially. Obviously in certain parts of the country, in the west and northwest, this is ideal summer weather that we would expect and we'd like to have most years. The drought is really starting to bite the other end of the country in the southeast.
We'll talk about the consequences in a moment, if that's all right, Amy. But I suppose, too, there's a couple of things we have to consider, and you do in the Irish Farmers Journal. I mean, it doesn't matter if we had the wettest March in history. The ground's dry now. And also, too, some of the forecasters predicting that the showers could be fleeting and patchy, and on hard ground, they can wash off really quite quickly. So farmers would be looking for the right type of rain to fall in the right sort of volume too, I suppose, to alleviate the problems they have right now.
Yeah, they will be, but it doesn't look like that's going to come. So Met Éireann has said that the forecast is going to bring around 10 millimetres of rain, which will technically break the drought, but soil moisture deficits will still be high across the country. And as you said, if the ground is rock solid in parts of the country, only 10 mil of rain isn't going to do a lot, to really change things there. There'd need to be more consistent rain. Met Éireann's currently also compiling its monthly forecast, and below average rainfall is forecast right out to the 20th of June. So it doesn't look like the good weather or the dry weather is going anywhere anytime soon, really.
Yeah, and as you were talking to Amy, you may be in a little bit more detail now. The problems now will be felt down the line, won't they? In terms of the lack of regrowth, when they might get a second cut. Down the line, this all leads to potential fodder shortages in the months ahead. And is there anything really farmers can be doing to offset that?
Yeah, so just on fodder shortages, it'll be for next winter that the concern is. Anyone that remembers 2018 knows it was a terrible weather year in terms we had storms and we also had a drought. So 2018, we had a very long winter, long spring, and with farmers unable to make those reserves of silage for the length of the spring, essentially. And then we had drought, so growth rates were way back and we needed to import fodder. That's not the case this year. So we've the last couple of weeks we've seen it around the country, balers and mowers around the country moving to make hay and silage. The concern would be for next winter, and a fodder survey is underway. But you mentioned there about avoiding feed deficits or avoiding stress in crops in this kind of weather. We've advice for the four main sectors for beef, tillage, sheep and dairy in the Farmers Journal this week, and it really is depends on where you are in the country what you need to be thinking about. We need to try and keep grass ahead of cattle, so wouldn't be topping paddocks that might be longer than usual. We'll be leaving that there. Hay is a good option to slow the rotation if we want to keep meal costs down on beef farms, and there's water obviously is very important during a dry spell, so plenty of water, make sure all troughs are working and up to date.
Yeah, and there's an awful lot of advice, as you mentioned, right across the different sectors, so people can dig into that. And I mean, we don't want anyone wasting resources either. Something as simple as applying fertilizer when there's no moisture to assist. You don't want to be throwing good money after bad either. So it's well worth farmers to go through this advice and see what might work for them so they can mitigate it as best as is possible.
Yeah, that's it, and that's the key advice. Like, what can you do at this minute in time? One, obviously, to ensure the welfare of your animals, and to ensure that your crops, if you are a tillage farmer or a grain grower, to ensure that your crops are still motoring on as they should be. No one wants to be, as you said, wasting money. And the same goes for slurry. There's no point spreading slurry out if it's scorching weather either. You'll end up burning the ground, and slurry is a valuable asset as well. So hold off on the fertilizer and the slurry, obviously depending on the weather and where you were. And as I said, there's full detail on that in this week's paper. Yeah,
and very finally, what's the significance, do you see, of, because they don't come around too often, a national fodder survey?
Yeah, so it obviously depends on the year. As you said, they don't come around to survey. The minister has ordered one for the whole country. It's probably important. It's probably something that maybe should be done every year to see what fodder stocks are like in the country. So that the National Fodder and Food Security Committee, this was the committee set up after the war began in Ukraine following the Russian invasion by the Minister for Agriculture to ensure food and feed security. It has still been meeting, not as often as it was last year, but they've been asked to compile a comprehensive fodder inventory for the country, and the fodder survey, as I said, it's underway in every county. That'll get an idea of what's on the ground and the fodder that's in train. So it will be interesting to see how things are fixed on that front when the results of that are published. Amy, thanks for your time this morning. All the details in today's Irish Farmers Journal. Amy Ford, Deputy News Editor, thank you very much indeed for that. Raymond McBride is of the Men's Shed in Kilmacrennan. Good morning to you, Raymond.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good to have you with us. All right, talk to us about the facility you have in Kilmacrennan and what you've got up to.
Well, the Kilmacrennan Men's Shed was set up in Kilmacrennan here 10 years ago by a few guys that decided that they saw the concept in other places. It originated in Australia, but they saw it and they saw that there was like-minded men like themselves that were maybe of an age where they weren't going out, they weren't going to social events, etc., and they were just maybe partly lonely. Yeah. And also that there were skills out there that could be shared with others, and they set up the Men's Shed. It's a worldwide organisation, but it has really taken off in Ireland, and we were very fortunate. We secured a cottage that the men renovated prior to my time, and we have a woodworking workshop there. We do a bit of walking. We walk in groups times. We were involved there for the last month in a walking group with our local Young at Heart group and the LDC and the Ukrainian community in Kilmacrennan. That we met every Monday and walked. We had a health and exercise walk, and then the LDC were very good. They looked after us for lunch then after it, and it was a great way to meet some of the Ukrainians that are living in Kilmacrennan and since that, we've had a few of them coming down on a Tuesday night. Unfortunately, they can't do anything in the workshop, but they come down and just really meet and socialise with us for a while.
And the thing is too, Raymond, it's all inclusive, isn't it? You don't have to be an older person. You don't have to be retired. You don't have to be a master craftsman in wood turning. You're inviting people to come along and just, if they can make it on a Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m, just to come along and mix.
Just the biggest and most important part of our whole evening on a Tuesday and any other day, if members so wish to undertake a project such as making a garden bench or making a mud kitchen or making a wishing well, whatever for a garden, garden or anything like that, you can come any day provided two men who are members of the shed are together for health and safety, obviously, with tools and machinery.
Yeah. And come here, and I've seen some of the bigger projects, big boats, not necessarily from the Kilmacrennan men's shed, but I saw a beautiful wooden trailer in a St. Patrick's Day parade, which was either restored or built.
We made a float there for every year. We talked about doing a float for St. Patrick's Day. And every year it was to say, yeah, we must get it done. And then
typical men.
Come the 1st of March, it was talked about but never done. And this year a couple of us set to, and we got everything from A to Z out of recycled, including the paint, which we were very fortunate to be allowed to take from the recycling centre as it was for a community project. Brysons were very good to us. The wood we used was completely recyclable.
What did you make, Raymond? You've got me on tenterhooks.
We made a lighthouse.
Oh, yeah, I saw
on
it.
wheels. A model, not a replica, but a model of the Thanet Lighthouse.
No, I saw that. It's beautiful.
And we took it to, unfortunately, we couldn't take it to Letterkenny because the parade seemed a bit long for some of us to walk the whole way, but we brought it to Kerrygart in the morning, and then we brought it to Kerrykeel in the afternoon for both the parades. And Jimmy Stafford, thankfully, of Highland Radio, gave us a few great plugs, and that we didn't disclose to anybody outside the shed until the day of the parade what it actually was. So Jimmy built up a bit of excitement in the morning on St. Patrick's Day morning. We sent him a photo of it leaving, but he agreed not to post the photograph until we had shown it in public. But, it was a great idea for the men to get them involved. And, to just for their own, a lot of boys on St. Patrick's Day, it's a family day, and some of them maybe hadn't family that were going to...
Yeah, exactly.
So...
And do you know what I like about it too,
it's a social outing.
It is, and it's a nice opportunity, I think, men's sheds as well, to socialise where it doesn't have to be in a bar or a pub, because some people don't drink or used to drink or whatever, and sometimes, who do you talk to about the football or whatever it may be? I don't want to be sexist on it, but you know yourself.
No.
And it's an opportunity.
Who do you talk to about the hurling, the golf, the cricket?
Out about the wife or whatever it might be.
Give out to you. Well, no, we'll not go there.
I'm only joking.
But the most important part of any meeting we have is a cup of tea and a chat.
Right, good stuff.
There has to be, we try and encourage talk through the cup of tea and the chat.
But it's not done. It's done informally, isn't it, Raymond? It's not a counselling session. It's nice and relaxed. Okay.
Oh, not at all. No.
So,
I mean.
Every Tuesday evening, 7:30 p.m. And I think you said that if other times suit, maybe something can be arranged as well.
Yeah, there was a guy on the phone there recently, and he said, Tuesday evening it wouldn't really suit. And I said, you know what? I said, if it suits you, we'll get a couple of guys together. And there's sheds. It doesn't have to be Kilmacrennan. There are men's sheds all over Donegal. They even now have. We're very fortunate with DLDC. They have a coordinator based down there below us in the DLDC offices below the mountaintop, where they have a guy, Brian Carr. And I'm sure Brian will be delighted to hear him mention that he is our coordinator. They have coordinators for down the west. They have coordinators for the Gaeltacht sheds who will let people in those areas know what's going on or where their shed is.
Okay,
you know,
brilliant.
There's a new
brilliant.
one now starting in Ards.
That's right. We did an interview on that a couple of months ago. So good to hear that's progressing. Yep, good to hear that's progressing.
That's open now and welcoming members.
Okay.
Like all sheds, there's no criteria. You don't have to be from the area. You don't have to be 70. You don't have to be a builder, a carpenter, a plumber. You can. The biggest part of it is that you're willing to come along and sit and have a cup of tea.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And I saw, as I say, that lighthouse in the Carrigot Parade. I got a wild touch there. I got a wild touch from Noel McBride at the parade. But anyway, it was great fun, and it was a brilliant thing that you did. Raymond, lovely to chat to you.
No problem at all, Greg, and thanks for having us on. And anybody wants to get in touch, just contact the Kilmacrennan Men's Shed on our page there and just
get
call
involved.
out.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay. You can just walk in, have a look round and walk out again.
They're a great bunch of lads. And your enthusiasm and how welcoming you are too is infectious, Raymond. Thank you so much. That's Raymond McBride there. A caller says, I'm doing a yoga retreat class in Ards and Creasla in June and again in August. This is suitable for the older community. If they're interested, get in touch. And it's also a beautiful place to walk, of course. We'll be happy to pass on your number if anyone's interested in that. We did a great interview with a group of, I think it was mostly women, about curling, Kurling, and they were mad for more members, and they seemed like a great bunch of people. Really, their enthusiasm was really infectious, and the sense of competition, though, which is not really supposed to exist, I don't know. But anyway, it was really there. So if you want to get involved in curling, and that's for people of all abilities and ages, loads of teams in Donegal. It's mostly made up of females, and they're finding it more difficult to get males to join. So if you're out there, there's curling all across Donegal. So if you're an older gentleman, you have a group of women there involved in curling that are very keen for you to get involved. You heard from Raymond. They want you to get involved. So if there's a way you can make it happen, please do. Right, we'll do more of that as the show wears on. As I say, if we can connect 1 or 2, 3 people even with activities and get them out of the house and back loving and living life again, my job will be complete for the week. Okay, let us talk now about an issue you may have heard on the news. This is the fact that there will not be a nurse on Tory Island for some time. Marjorie Carroll will say good morning to first, who's manager of Tory Island Co-op. And I think from the get-go here, Marjorie, we understand people are entitled to and deserve time off or whatever it might be. This is not about any individuals. This is about, I suppose, contingency and organisation to cover any gaps that are in the services, Marjorie.
Oh, definitely. That's 100% correct. Everyone's entitled to their annual leave, and if someone's sick, they have to take out sick leave as well, you know, so we're not disputing that fact at all. I suppose, though, for anyone who doesn't understand how the system works here, it works on a 2-week on, 2-week off rota. So basically, we have a nurse who's finishing up today, and there was another nurse to replace her, and unfortunately, that nurse has called in sick. And we're left now in a position for the next couple of weeks that we won't have any nurses cover. Now, the nurse that's was due to leave today, has kindly said that they'll stay on for an extra day and will probably have to come back a day early to try and help with the issues on the island. But like almost 2 weeks is an awful long time to be left without a nurse on the island. And unfortunately today as well, there was a serious mess up with the doctor coming to Tory Island. We're going to be left now with no doctor for it'll be a month before we'll get the doctor back here again now. So it'll be 2 weeks, so we'll be left for a month without any doctor on the island, which isn't great at all for the island. There's quite a lot of people sick here at the moment, and it's just quite shocking.
Yeah, it is, and it's also not necessarily that the amount of people that might actually need the nurse or doctor in any. It's also about a bit of health security as well. I'm sure it spikes anxiety, Marjorie, for people not knowing that they don't have access to a nurse for a couple of weeks.
No, exactly, yeah, and I suppose it's. If we had known yesterday, say, that there was the helicopter service cancelled, they made the HSE aware of it. Unfortunately, that message wasn't passed on to the doctor or to the nurse on the island or to ourselves. Unfortunately, the doctor was standing at the helipad in Fulcar this morning, and there was no helicopter turned up. If we had known in advance, we could have got that doctor onto Tory via the boat. And unfortunately now what's happened is we're going to have to try and get the medications and on the boat and then distribute them to the islanders. I suppose it's communication, I think, is the key here. And unfortunately, there's something going amiss somewhere, and someone needs to take responsibility for Tory Island, because I feel myself, as a parent of 3 young children, you're kind of left on your own here at the minute. And like 30 years ago, the service was better here. We have a fabulous building, but it's not utilised at all.
Yeah, and we hear conversations and look, anything that's progress is good about, encouraging people to the islands or repopulating them or investing money. Listen, when someone is thinking of moving to an island or staying on an island, we're not talking specifically about Tory in this instance, access to a reasonable level of healthcare would be one of the first things that you look at, whether you're a healthy middle-aged person, an older person, or have young children. We need to get the basics right.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yesterday, Minister Humphreys was in Ironmore and they launched the National Islands Policy, the 10-year plan. And as part of that, it's supposed to enhance health and wellbeing services on the islands. Like, all we're looking for, we're just looking for the basics here, so we don't even have that. So I kind of think to myself, well, actually, maybe let's go back and start again, because we on Tory, we don't even have the basic services on the island here. And it's in 2023, it's absolutely disgraceful that we're left today. We have no doctor. If we had known in advance, we could have got the doctor. And on the boat, we would have, there's a full clinic, there's quite a lot of people, as I said earlier, quite a lot of people sick. So what those people are going to have to do now is they're going to have to take their sick child or their sick parent or whatever
ferry,
on the boat, on the ferry, out to the mainland, queue up, take them back in. It's terrible. Like, it really is shocking.
And it is down to organisation. I don't know how many nurses would be required for cover. I mean, listen, say, for instance, there were 3 nurses, like 2 rotated on and off and 1 for cover, and all of them come down with something. People would understand that, right? But Marjorie, this is about someone saying, how important is it to have nurse cover on Tory Island? And someone has decided, well, we can't move A to B and C to D and so on and so forth. This is an organisation issue here. Do we know what the rota is and the cover for that rota? Because that's what needs to be looked at here, I think, clearly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like 2 years ago, we had a meeting. There was HSE staff came in and it was discussed. And I remember thinking at the time, oh God, do we really need that? They were talking about having 3 nurses covering Tory. But that was 2 years ago. Now, it's probably that is what we need. But there's been no talk of that since. We thought 2 weeks ago that we got someone on Tory who was a native Tory Islander who moved back, that they were covering. Now, they obviously have to have their time off as well. They can't be here 24/7, 7 days a week. So we thought, well, this is now our problems are resolved. But actually they're not, because we still don't have any cover if people are off sick or if they have bereavements in the family. People are entitled to be off, take leave. But that means that we're still left with no cover. So what the HSE are telling us this morning is we have sent out emails. We can't get anyone to come to Tory to cover for you, unfortunately, and that's basically where we're left. So basically, anyone who's from Tory who's listening out there today, we are on our own here, basically, and that's just unfortunate the way it is. Yeah. But if you feel that anyone's sick at all, the best place to head is to the mainland, because at the minute we have no cover on Tory Island, and it's disgraceful in this day and age.
Yeah, and there's also presumably people going out to visit the island as well. It's not just the population that lives there all the time. The population, I presume, grows somewhat in June, July and August. Right, Marjorie, I'm not sure what we can do except make inquiries and hopefully put the pressure on. I know you are and some politicians are as well, to try and get this situation sorted. This is people's health and well-being, and there's no point paying lip service to the islands and not getting the basics right, I think really would be my view on it, Marjorie.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not looking for much. All we're looking for is the basic services, the basic services that we would have had years ago. There's talk of, e-health, there's talk about enhancing well-being, all of that. Look, all we're looking for this morning is the basic services on the island for the islanders. And as you said, we could have 150 here during the winter months. This time of the year, going right up June, July and August, that could go up to 400 per day, so... it is increasing, every weekend now you see an increase in people coming to the island. So, it's definitely, it's a major issue, unfortunately.
And not to mention, I'm sure that the doctor that was due out there today has better things to do with their time than sit waiting on transport that doesn't arrive. OK, Marjorie, listen, thank you for helping us understand. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care. Okay, we'll be back with more after these. In fact, I think we'll go with a listener's dilemma about them expecting their child, expecting them to babysit their children. FOC.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Get ready for an epic summer with Irwin's Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana. Everything you need to make the most of our Irish summers. From the highly sought after Ninja barbecues to outdoor speakers, Dyson fans, big screen TVs, Bluetooth speakers and small appliances. We've got you covered. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
On this week's Business Matters, I'll be joined by the owner of Colmkill Press and Dairy and spokesperson for the Dairy University Group, Garwin Downey. So join me, Kieran O'Donnell, for Business Matters on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. The Business Matters podcast is also available to download at highlandradio.com.
Business Matters in association with the ATU Donegal Faculty of Business. If you have an undergrad in any discipline and would like to reinforce it with a Masters in Business, ATU are offering their Masters in Business Management Conversion Programme. Call 9186 206 or email donald.hannigan@atu.ie.
The world awaits you. Make that dream your next adventure. Cruise the Caribbean. Sail from Crete to Corsica. Soak in Santorini sunsets. Dine on the shores of the Indian Ocean. Stroll through cobbled streets for hidden gems, or bring the little ones to a magical wonderland. Trust the award-winning Atlantic Travel to guide your next adventure. Step through our doorway to the world. Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny.
If you're organising an event, you might be surprised by everything that BizPrint offer. From photo props, backdrops and banners to tablecloths, pens, keyrings and mugs. Everything to make sure your event is a success. Call BizPrint on 91779955 or see bizprint.ie.
Join us at the Abbey Hotel for our country music weekend. Dance the night away this Friday with Robert Mazzell and Michael English. On Saturday, enjoy Olivia Douglas, Patrick Feeney and Stuart Moyles. And to finish off a fabulous weekend, join Jimmy Buckley for our Sunday afternoon dancing from 3 to 5 p.m. That's this weekend at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal Town.
Right, so we got a letter from a listener that reads as follows. My daughter is a single parent. I love her and I fairly admire all she does. She is some woman, but God forgive me, she's taking a hand now. I said I would help her because honestly, what single parent can afford childcare at the minute? I look after my 2 grandchildren aged 2 and 5. What was agreed to be 3 times a week from 7 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Now, this has turned into 5 days a week, and she won't come to collect them until 9 p.m. or worse, she starts hyping up a sleepover at Granny's to the wee ones, knowing I'll find it hard to say no to their faces. I am just shattered, to be honest with you. I'm 60 years of age. I reared my children, Greg. If I mention this to my daughter, she goes mad, telling me nobody supports her or comes out with the stuff that I mustn't like this, like the wee ones. I'm doing this free of charge. I feel disrespected, but don't want to fall out with my daughter. What on earth should I do with her? So, what do you do in this situation? Now, Granny was very good, I think. 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It's a long shift, 3 days a week. Now, the hand's been taken. It's 5 days a week. Sometimes it's till 9 p.m. Other times it's, and you know yourself, would you like a sleepover at Granny's? And the wee ones look up with their little faces and can Granny say no? What do you do in this situation? How does this mother deal with her daughter? Obviously, I think she's doing amazing as it is, but can't go on. She's got her children reared. That's what she said. So what do you think she should do? 086 60 25,000. Share your thoughts. And ideally, maybe, if you were in this situation yourself previously and you come up with a solution, maybe you do need to fall out with your daughter for a while. Do you know, like, I don't know what I would do. But you have to look after yourself as well. And how can you look after other people if you don't look after yourself? That would be the way I would say. You know, you have to look after your well-being. We posted this on our socials as well to see what people out there thought. This is what John said. Help her out to an extent, yes, but she has to learn she can't just bring kids into the world and dump them on someone else. What happens if, God forbid, the mother died tomorrow? Who picks up after the daughter then? Now, it's possible, though, people's circumstances change. There could be a relationship breakup. I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. I don't think anyone intentionally has children with a view to dumping them on someone else, really, is effectively what I'm saying. Pat says, send her packing. She's using you. You love you for your daughter is not reciprocated. Conditional love is not really love. Wow, Pat. I mean, that's quite insightful. And you're onto something there. If the love was coming back the same way in reverse, this wouldn't be happening, would it? Send her packing, they say. But you don't want to leave your children, even if they're adults, struggling like that, do you? Kathleen says, start looking for money. I don't think that's the thing for this listener. Because they began this service to assist their daughter. So what do you do? 086 60 25,000. It is a tough one, I'll give you that. So thought out solutions, 07491 25,000. How much was the country fined for not housing their own people? People should remember this in the next election. Right, okay. Let us see another one here. I'm listening to the show at the moment. I want to say a lot of older people would like to avail of their bus pass to get to the services entertainment available, but are unable to do as they cannot step up to get into the bus as the steps are too high on most buses. As well, older people cannot access tickets for travel on buses through their phones. Please read this out as it's affecting a lot of lonely older people. Thank you. So even if there is a bus close to you, is access to the bus a prohibitor? If you're in a city, they're very low. You'd literally step off the curve and you're on the bus or the curb. And also the issue with booking your tickets online. Was that not resolved, though, where you could turn up? I don't know. I don't want to give anyone some wrong advice. Okay, we have to take a very quick break before we're joined by our next guest, who is the Deputy Mayor of Derry City and Strabane.
Inishowen Vintage Weekend this Saturday in the marquee Carrickfield, Moville. It's DJ Rudders followed by the Celtic Nights. Doors open at 8 p.m. with a late bar. This ad is sponsored by the Corner Bar Moville. Newly refurbished, ensuite accommodation and live music every weekend.
Ron Hill Rallying, in association with the Letterkenny Community Childcare Facility Rebuilding Fund, presents a pre-Donegal International Rally event on Sunday the 11th of June at the St Eunan's GA Club in Letterkenny. Rally cars will be on display from 5 p.m. with free ice cream and face painting for the kids. The rally discussion and crack with an expert panel gets underway at 7. Tickets for the Donegal International Rally Preview Live event are available now on Eventbrite.
Do you want to take the next step in your career? At Atlantic Technological University, we can help you. Choose from over 350 online, flexible and postgraduate courses. Build accredited qualifications in science, engineering, business, nursing, education, computing and much more. From short courses to masters, work hard and thrive with a flexible learning experience designed to suit you. Apply now at atu.ie/flexible. ATU. Develop the skills you need to stand out.
Buncrana Music Festival, Friday 30th of June and Saturday 1st of July, featuring Scouting for Girls, Jake Bug, Hermitage Green, Pa Sheehy, Sive Skelly, The Midnight Preachers and Riva. Buncrana Music Festival, Friday 30th of June and Saturday 1st of July. Get your tickets now at buncranamusicfestival.com.
Around the Northwest will be live at Foy & Company's Letterkenny store this Friday the 9th to celebrate Creating Colourful Homes, a 3-day big paint weekend which is on this Thursday until Saturday in both the Letterkenny and Ballybuffet stores. Book a free in-store colour consultation with a Dulux consultant in Letterkenny this Thursday or in Ballybuffet on Friday. Call in and enter to win big prizes like a sofa, mattress, room makeovers, paint vouchers and more.
Now, Councillor Jason Barr is Deputy Mayor of Derry City and Strabane District Council. Thanks for joining us this morning, Jason. Good to speak to you.
No problem. Good morning, Greg.
Right, now, a devastating announcement coming in as it relates to pound stretchers in Strabane. What's going on?
Yeah, so just within recent weeks there, notice appeared on the notice board within the staff room and within pound stretchers to inform the staff that the store would be closing in the next number of weeks. So this is another devastating impact to the retail from Strabane, especially after the closure of 3 other retail outlets within the last year when their sites were tumbled to make way for the new Lidl store that is now underway. So it's not great for the town now, Greg, at all.
Yeah, before we talk about this most recent announcement, Jason, to lose 2 or 3, 4 big stores, it's a big hole, isn't it, in Strabane, in terms of its attractiveness. And, obviously big stores, then people might go into smaller stores or other stores. The footfall, you don't want to see a reduction in that if you're in business locally.
Definitely not, especially with it being a border town, Greg, especially, as you say, for the footfall. We lost in the footfall massively. And now I know with Lidl build their new store, they're going to build 3 retail units directly behind the new Lidl store, which will hopefully attract further business in the town. But with the loss now of Crown Stretcher 4 within the 1 year, that's why this morning that I've called on business council officers within Derry City and Strabane for an urgent meeting with all elected reps and to invite Invest NI to see exactly what we can do to attract investment and retail outlets back into the town. Yeah, for sure, and get to the bottom of as to why they feel they have to depart. And as it relates to staff, they are being offered the option of redeployment to either Derry or Omagh. But I'd imagine, Jason, for the majority, though I can't say with any certainty, that's not going to be an option, is it? That level of a commute, the increased cost and the impact that really has on your take home. Without a doubt, Greg, and you're 100% right. The ask staff to redeploy is a big ask, especially during the times that we're in at the minute. And it's not going to suit every single member of staff. I know there's 13 members of staff there, and not every single one of them staff thrive. So that's going to have an impact on their job, and surely that means that they'll probably have to leave their post and seek employment elsewhere. So it's just about now getting their heads all together, getting Invest NI down. Invest NI really need to get down and have this conversation and see what retail outlets that we can bring to the town to bring footfall back in it once again. Yeah, because now, you could say, Jason, because of a lack of investment from Dublin and Belfast in the northwest, we are perhaps more reliant than other areas on the likes of retail and hospitality. So when we start shedding those jobs, it really is problematic. These are bills from staff that they're gonna struggle to pay, mortgages and all that type of stuff. I mean, this has a huge impact on people's lives, and then that ripples out through a community. Big time, without a doubt, especially during this cost of living crisis. People need work and stability now more than ever. So for another announcement of another retail outlet in Strabane to say that they're closing their doors is without a doubt having an impact. Now, I do believe that this impact has come, especially in that area, from the demolition of the 3 that had to close, is to do, I'm sure, that the lack of footfall in that area has now resulted in Pound Stretcher having to close their doors there, as obviously their income under that business isn't as much as it was before. But hopefully now, as I say, when we have this meeting and we try our best to attract further businesses back in to this area of the town, that hopefully this will attract bigger and a lot more world-renowned, maybe retail outlets into the town, which will attract footfall from both sides of the border back into the town once again. Yeah, that's it, because we don't want a House of Cards effect here, do we, whereby, the sooner this Lidl gets open with those, presumably it's an anchor tenant then with 3 other retail outlets, the sooner that gets open, the better. Now, they have their own timelines and they usually throw those stores up quite quickly, but still, the sooner all that happens, the better. Oh, without a doubt, the sooner it happens, the better. And I know that when the Lidl store comes in itself, there is 19 employees within the Lidl store at the minute. That's within Strabane, and then when this new Lidl store opens, it's going to employ 10 more, so that'll be 29 alone employed within the Lidl store, and then hopefully with the 3 other retail units, and hopefully then for another retail outlet to come in where Pound Stretcher is leaving, hopefully I can create up to another maybe 50 or 60 plus jobs. Yeah, for sure, because with all due respect to Lidl, they're fantastic, but there's Lidl stores everywhere, so people aren't travelling into Strabane for that. You need different type of stores to sort of maintain that footfall and not just local traffic too. OK, we'll watch on with interest, Jason, and hopefully that meeting is convened and there's a positive outcome as soon as possible. Thanks for your time today. No problem. Thanks, William. Great. All right, Councillor Jason Byrne, Deputy Mayor of Derry City and Strabane District Council as well. If you're affected by that, I have a say. 086 60 25,000. A couple of requests. Shall we do that now?
Please wish Roy Mooney from Burt a very happy 90th birthday today. He's some man for one man, that's for sure. And he's loved very much by all his family. Looking forward to the big celebrations ahead. Love from his children, Robin, Derek, Adele and their families. Roy Mooney and Bert, happy birthday to you. I hope you have a wonderful day and you enjoy your celebrations. Madge Callahan's in Grove Hall in Ramelton, and Madge is 86 today. Have a great day, Madge, from your loving husband, Michael. Hopefully you've already had tea and toast and more to follow. Madge, happy birthday to you listening to us, hopefully in Ramelton. Get your request dedications in. We're more than happy to do those for you. We've got live music coming up from one of the most promising young bands in the Northwest region. They've got a new track out and they're going to be coming in and performing live in the next hour, so stay tuned for that. There's other stuff coming up as well, which I shall let you know as soon as it happens. I'm not a big fan of menus, but anyway, I like to let you know if there's some live music coming up. Keep involved in the conversation. 086 60 25,000. That's for WhatsApps and texts, of course, or call us on 07491 25,000. The news headlines just on the other side of this advert.
Don't miss the 31st annual Finn Valley Show on Russell Brothers Farm, Killygordon on Saturday 17th of June with the usual dog, home industries, poultry, sheep, cattle, horse and pony classes and Fast and Furious Donkey Derby plus Show and Shine tractor competition judged by Kirsty Ward from Grassmen with trade stands, live music and children's entertainment. The Finn Valley Show is sure to be a family fun day on June 17th. This ad is sponsored by Kilpatrick Brothers Contracting for all your agri needs. Mowing, raking, baling, GPS sowing, slurry and manure spreading. Call Davy or Ray on 087 2121 760.
Holiday sunshine. Fly from Derry to Majorca this July or August with Atlantic Travel in Letterkenny. Save up to 20% with rates not available elsewhere. Also exclusive discounts for parking. Call Atlantic Travel Letterkenny on 91 26193 or visit atlantictravel.ie.
Fruit and veg discounts are ripe for the picking at Lidl. Shop costs with 40% off microwavable baby potatoes, now 59 cent. Don't leave without 44% off Irish butterhead lettuce, now 49 cent. Plus a juicy 20% off our entire frozen fruit range on Lidl Plus. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl today. T's and C's apply.
This summer, enjoy the tastiest burger in town for less at Kelly's Diner, Letterkenny. With Jake's famous burgers, there's your choice of burger, beef, chicken or veggie, all freshly prepared, with your pick of delicious toppings and sides. Selected burger deals every weekend. Find the best value burger in town. Jake's Burgers at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Disney's The Lion King in Dublin. More to be seen than has ever been seen. Join Highland Radio on our trip on Thursday, 26th of October 2023 to see the award-winning Lion King the musical. Brought to you by Disney Theatrical Productions. Your trip includes luxury transfers, overnight stay at the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin on a bed and breakfast basis and your ticket to the show. All this for just €219 per person sharing. Call 074 91 25,000 to book. A non-refundable deposit of €100 per person will hold your place. Single supplement applies. To see Disney's The Lion King in Dublin.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And at 11 o'clock, I'm joined in studio by Donald Kavanagh with the latest news headlines.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. It's emerged Tory Island did not receive a doctor today because of a mix-up over transport, which left the doctor waiting for a helicopter which had been cancelled, without, it seems, the HSE being informed. It comes as the island is set to be without a nurse for 2 weeks because a nurse due on the island from today is ill and no replacement is available. HICWA has published a number of inspection reports on designated centres for people with disabilities. The list includes the CVI Respite Service at Mount Charles, which has capacity for 4 residents and had 2 in place at the time of the inspection in March. No non-compliances were recorded. Management have already outlined how they will address a number of minor issues which were identified. You can read that full report on our website. The first sod will be turned tomorrow in Donegal town at the site of the new girls' school Nagaro Mastery. The school's been based in prefabs since it opened. The new school building was to have started some months ago, but that was delayed at the 11th hour as part of a public expenditure review. That sparked a campaign which culminated in a major protest during a visit to the county by Minister Norma Fowler recently. The HSE is encouraging people who are eligible to get their COVID-19 spring boosters in the coming days. The programme winds down next week. The Letterkenny COVID-19 vaccination centre will open today and tomorrow, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. A pop-up clinic will operate tomorrow in Stranraer. Public health consultant Dr. Anthony Breslin says COVID is still a threat and those who are compromised need to ensure they stay protected. And more than 236,000 children are experiencing poverty in Ireland today. The Children's Rights Alliance is launching a new Child Poverty Monitor report which highlights that children are going to bed hungry and sleeping in coats during the winter months. It's the second in a series of reports that will analyse the complexity of child poverty across the country. They're the headlines. News headlines again at 12 noon.
OK, Donald, thank you very much for that.
Is your home or motor insurance up for renewal? Now is the time to check if your policy still offers you the right cover and the right fit at the right price. To be sure you're getting the best deal, take this opportunity to shop around. It's easier than you think. Simply contact your insurer or broker today. Remember, don't just renew, review. For more information, visit understandinginsurance.ie. Brought to you by Insurance Ireland.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Irish Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has launched an urgent appeal named Stop the Pain in response to a sharp increase in the number of animal cruelty cases. Now, I know when we read that headline, many of you upset to hear it. So we have to face these issues to find solutions, don't we? Dr. Cyril Sullivan is CEO of the ISPCA and joins us on the programme now. Cyril, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it greatly. So can you give us, Cyril, an idea of...
Thanks, Greg. Delighted to talk to you and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I beg your pardon. A slight delay, which I'll work on my side. Can you give us an idea... I was just going to ask you, sorry.
Yeah, so basically, can you hear me, Greg?
Yeah, one moment. We'll pause for a second, Cyril. I'll ask a question and then shut up. OK, so Cyril, can you give us an extent of the problem we're seeing countrywide?
I suppose the ISPCA believes we're in the midst of a national crisis with animal welfare. A number of animal shelters across the country are faced so many animals coming their way that they've decided that they're full. They don't have the resources and have had to shut up shop. In ISPCA's situation, the number of animals, particularly dogs, we took in last year, for the whole year, for the full 12 months, we're facing that number as of today. So we're not even halfway through the year and we're already exceeding that number. So as far as ISPCA is concerned, we're in the midst of a national crisis. We're in the midst of national crisis in animal welfare. And hence, we've had no choice but to launch a national appeal. And just in terms of some background to that, we, within the ISPCA, decided, our objective is to save animals from cruelty. We receive between 10 and 15,000 calls a year into our helpline in Longford, and about 3,000 of those end up in inspections. When the numbers started to grow, the board, a very passionate group of animal welfare folk, the senior management team, the team, we're all very passionate about what we do, right through to the Department of Agriculture, the Minister for Agriculture would expect us to keep our doors open. We are not going to leave any animal behind. So we've, we have, I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yep, go ahead. Yes, listening intently.
All good?
Yep.
Yep. So, so it's just that what's happened then is that we decided to keep our doors open, but our kennels are full. We have just north on the Ramelton Road, just north of Letterkenny, we have one of our animal welfare centres run by Denise McCausland, and she is our national head of animal welfare. It's full, and our other three centres in Longford, Mallow and in Wicklow are full as well, Greg. So we've had to resort to hiring private kenneling. Now, that under normal circumstances could be a small bill that we would be happy to put up with in terms of just a normal, overflow and a temporary overflow. What's happened is that it really has had to be structured into our whole operation for the year, to the point where if it continues, as I said, we're doubling in terms of the numbers for this year. We're way over capacity. We're paying for this every night. And we're looking at about 500,000 of a deficit, which, even though we're the largest animal welfare organisation in Ireland, we couldn't sustain and we couldn't absorb anything like that. So we've been left with no alternative but to launch this national appeal to be able to address the situation, get through 2023 and into 24.
So what has led to this increase then in animals being surrendered or instances of animal cruelty? Because, I mean, this is a huge spike. Do we know what's causing it?
Yeah, it's really related to COVID and post-pandemic. It's what we're witnessing. Everybody would remember that during pandemic, people were at home, the families were at home. It was a great time to take an animal. If you're thinking of taking a pet animal in, it was the time to do it, and particularly a dog. So there was a significant growth in terms of breeders, be them legal or illegal, during that time, and people were able to. Anecdotal evidence of prices tripling and quadrupling. And, so it was a very significant growth in the demand and the supply of dogs during that time. The minute pandemic was over, practically overnight, that market disappeared. So what we're seeing in the ISPCA is a very significant increase in puppy farms that are not able to cope. And so they're left with a situation where animals are being neglected. And a small example, we're full, we're doubling our numbers. We have extensive private rental, but about 2 weeks ago, we got a call into our call centre in Longford, where a person a neighbour effectively complained about noises of dogs. It could be harmless. It could just be, barking dogs, which really wouldn't be a cruelty situation. But her inspector inspected and found in a small garage 116 dogs sitting in crates with no food, no light, it was the most horrendous sight. Now, we're full, as I said, but we are determined not to leave any animal behind. So a national operation headed by Denise in Donegal worked our way into bringing all the animals from that location, which was further down the country, back out to our centres and back into private kennelling and back to safety. So that's the extent of the problem. And as I said, it's breeders. On top of that, there's a second problem, and it is an issue in the sense that people have now gone back to work, and a significant part of our work is to rescue, to rehabilitate, and to rehome. And the rehoming piece is a key part of the outcome, because that's the terrific success for us. We bring an animal back to full health, and a loving home, a forever home, is ultimately where it has to go. Those numbers of people who are prepared to take dogs in, because they go back to the office, has gone down significantly. So we have this increase in terms of the cruelty cases coming through, and we also have a reduction in terms of people bringing them in.
And
so our plan,
and
Greg,
Cyril,
is to get through the years.
I get you, but I mean, listen, we're at full employment, so there's less people at home, of course, and there's more animals coming into the ISPCA's care than can be rehomed. But I mean, obviously, hopefully Stop the Pain is very successful and you have more money, but that is to house these dogs. You can't do that, presumably, in perpetuity. So what is the medium to long term if the situation persists? What happens to these pets? Because you can't run at overcapacity forevermore either. So what happens, Cyril? What's next?
No, excellent point, Greg. Our plan, as I said, to get through this is a simple one, but we're hoping would be an effective one. As I said, temporary kenneling, we're going to take every animal into safety. Obviously, our veterinary costs, our veterinary services have to increase to meet that demand, and that's a significant cost as well during the year. We also are going to build kennels in our centres so that we can expand capacity and take animals out of private care. But the final piece, as you just asked there, is to really as part of this appeal is to ask for people to step forward and to take an animal in. If they're not sure, if they're saying, well, I'm not sure, will I be able to take care of it? I'm now working or whatever, they can foster. And even an animal getting 3 or 4 weeks or maybe 2 months in a home, in a fostered home, is a significant benefit to that animal for us in terms of its rehab. So if people are not sure, we'd be delighted to hear from them. They can call us on 043 33 25035, which is our National Animal Centre line into Longford, or they can go on our website and register interest in fostering or adopting, which would be terrific. But you're right, we have to ask Irish public to, temporarily, ispca.ie/donate, to help us get through this immediate spike and immediate problem in 2023. And then for people who are animal lovers who are considering it, we will work really hard with them to make it a success and to get animals back into homes.
The ISPCA would not move animals abroad or put animals to sleep. dogs. That's not part of the policy.
We haven't sent animals abroad as of yet, but there are a number of very good options that we will have, consider. And it's a case that we want animals to have a full and happy life, and that's what we're targeting. But no, animals are not. But obviously, if there's a medical issue or some other matter that requires it that our veterinary professionals tell us, that's it. But under no circumstances we are going to save every animal. We're not leaving any animal behind, and we want the folk of Donegal and the Northwest and all of Ireland really to step forward and to help us through this. And
very finally,
our strength.
So just very finally, Cyril, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but the question has actually completely escaped me at the moment, so I think I've concluded with your time. But no, actually, Cyril, sorry, it's come to me. Locally, we've had calls in the past for dog ownership to be more heavily regulated. That our attitude towards it's almost like fast fashion. You get it, and then, it doesn't suit me, you can give it. Is there anything that the ISPCA would like done in that area to regulate or license in some way dog ownership?
Well, the 1986 Control of Dogs Act, the legislation is there. So responsible ownership is the law. It's not just a nice thing to do to take a dog in or take an animal in and have a pet and then decide, no, I'm not really going to do it. Also, the 2013 Animal Health and Welfare Act, even the simple thing of taking a dog in and say, look, I will go away for the weekend and leave food out in the garden. You're breaking the law. You have to make sure that you provide adequate facilities and adequate food for the animals. So the law is definitely there, and it's a case that we are as inspectors ISPCA inspectors who go out and inspect this. We are very successful in terms of our court cases and our sanctions. But obviously, the ones that we bring to court, there's about 26 to 30 a year, are serious cruelty cases. They're very serious cruelty cases. There is a interdepartmental group which the government formed recently, which is looking at the control of dogs, particularly after the very serious attack on a young teenager in Wexford and the impact that it had. So from an ISPCA point of view, we believe that it's the responsible ownership is the piece. The animal is not the issue. It's a case that if you are a responsible owner, an animal will never attack, and you'll make sure you have it complying with the law in terms of the length of the lead or a muzzle or whatever. So those things are very important. But can I just say one final thing, Greg? I know you want to move on, but just finally, our strength and our support have come from our supporters across the years, where people have donated to help us save animals and have saved a significant number of animals. This is a national appeal. We haven't done this before. This is an exceptional situation we're in. So we're looking for that support from our existing supporters, from animal lovers and the Irish public generally to get us through 2023 into 2024. Just to make that point, ispca.ie/donate. This is not just a nice thing to do. It's a crucial thing for the ISPCA.
Yeah, and it's an emergency. All right, Cyril, thank you very much indeed for your time. Dr. Cyril Sullivan, CEO of the ISPCA. All right, next guest on the way.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Disney's The Lion King in Dublin. More to be seen than has ever been seen. Join Highland Radio on our trip on Thursday, 26th of October 2023 to see the award-winning Lion King the musical. Brought to you by Disney Theatrical Productions. Your trip includes luxury transfers, overnight stay at the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin on a bed and breakfast basis, and your ticket to the show. All this for just €219 per person sharing. Call 074 91 25,000 to book. A non-refundable deposit of €100 per person will hold your place. Single supplement applies. To see Disney's The Lion King in Dublin.
Hello there, Farmer Tinny here. It's summer and Tinny's Toys have loads of swings, slides, trampolines, goalposts and many more outdoor toys and games. We've basketball stands, swing ball, sandpit diggers, kids' wheelbarrows, and when the sun finally gets out, we've loads of paddling pools. Of course, we still have what we're famous for, the largest range of ride-on and small farm toys and models in Ireland. Shop 24/7 tinnystoys.com or call into Leck Road, Letterkenny. Down by.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love. 2. Great special offers like Fairy Platinum Plus dishwasher tablets 48-piece, only €10. Exclusive to Real Rewards members only. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. So follow the 1, 2, 3 and save money at Super Value. T's and C's apply.
Clonmoney Agricultural Show Monster Draw, €100,000 in prizes. First prize a Valtra Tractor A105 High Tech or a Skoda Kodiaq car. Second prize a Skoda Fabia car or €10,000 plus 8 other cash prizes. Tickets now available online at clonmoneyshow.com or from any committee member. This would make an ideal Father's Day gift.
This is National Food Waste Recycling Week, so here's a reminder to always separate waste food. Remember, both cooked and raw food, as well as compostable packaging, go in the food waste recycling bin. Be climate positive. Visit mywaste.ie for lots of excellent tips and tricks. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time is 16 minutes past 11, and in studio with me now is Fiona Condren, founder of Emotions Matters. Hi, Fiona.
Hi, Greg.
You're going to have to move forward a little bit for me just so I can hear you. I'm good. How are you?
I am good.
Very good. Okay, so we're talking about the mental health of children and the importance of that. And I suppose it's recognising areas that need some attention. And we know from recent statistics, Fiona, that we're seeing more children with mental health issues than ever before, more incidences of self-harm. And it frustrates me a little bit that we seem to recognise the issues, but we don't really talk about the cause, or no one's prepared to nail their flag to the mast on that, or what we actually can do to improve things. So what's your views on all of that?
Well, I think you're spot on, Craig, in what you're saying. We have seen a massive increase, and we have a mental health crisis now on the ground at the moment. So what I would often say is that mental health amongst our children has reached never before seen levels. So we've never seen anything like this. Anxiety and depression is widespread and worrying, and self-harming and suicide is rising at alarming rates. So I suppose what that tells us is our children are struggling. And, the recent studies would indicate that. So we have a study that was undertaken of secondary school age pupils down south in the Republic, here in the Republic of Ireland. And what that concluded was 78% of pupils reported having experienced a mental health condition. Mm-hmm. And what we also know from a recent report from Action for Children is that 1 in 5 children now from the age of 5 to 16 are likely to present with a mental health condition. Mm-hmm. That's 50% rise in the last 3 years. And our children who are aged 17 to 19, that has gone up from 1 in 6 to 1 in 4. Mm-hmm. So they're very clearly telling us themselves that they are struggling, and we are seeing that very clearly.
Yeah, but we've never been in a situation before where we've talked more about young person's mental health. Mm-hmm. You go into a school, you'll see all the signs on the walls, opportunities to speak and all that there. So whatever we're doing now is not working, or in fact it might actually be nurturing the mental health issues. I would like us to have that conversation, because I find that it sort of gets dragged into other areas when you try and have that conversation. And we're all in the business of looking after children, but I think we need to have a grown-up conversation about, the space that we provide for children and how we support them.
Yeah, and I think you're spot on. There's a lot of papering over the cracks, in terms of the statistics, and I like to be very open and honest so that people know what is actually happening.
I just feel that when I was younger, if I went to my parents, right, and I said, this is how I'm feeling, that I would, or school, that I would get something constructive or some guidance. Everything seems so hands-off now with young people. It's like, well, what do you feel? Why do you feel like that? What do you think might be better for you? Do you know what I mean? I just think we're losing the art of caring.
Yeah, and I suppose why is the statistics? Why are we seeing these on the ground?
Could you just bear with me for one second, Fiona? Oisín, I think there's a setting on that microphone. Could you fix it for me? Listen, we could put all the airs and graces on. I think it's switched to the wrong setting, and I'm struggling a little to hear Fiona there. Is it Osh? No, is it? Oh, everything's okay. Should we swing mic 3 over? Okay, because it's an important message, Fiona, and you can shift over a little bit because I want to make sure that we can hear you. That mic's just a little bit quiet. Right, sorry, continue there. Oh, loud and clear.
So,
Thanks, Osh.
I think a good way of understanding why the children are struggling is they tell us themselves. And as I mentioned in those reports, what a lot of young people are indicating is that they're struggling with school, they are struggling with their exams, friendships. There has been an increase in children struggling with the cost of living crisis, worrying about, the family's financial situation and how that's going to impact on. Social media has a big impact on children as well too. And COVID, when we look at a 50% rise over the past 3 years, then COVID has played a huge role in that. It's played a huge role in the mental health of the population as a whole, but particularly our children as well too. So let me explain, Craig, when you kind of asked me there, what how has that played out during COVID, okay? So during COVID, children became very disconnected. They were no longer going to school. They weren't in contact with their friends. They weren't in contact with their extended family and whatever. During a time of crisis, children look to us, they're big people, to see how are we coping, and they imitate that, okay? So through no fault of parents' own, when COVID kicked in, we were all scared, panicky. We never dealt with a situation like that. So that we were scared, anxious, panicky, fearful. So we've dysregulated parents and we've dysregulated children. What I often say is our children are our mirrors. They're a reflection of our inner state of being. So when children are dysregulated, they are in fight or flight mode. They are in stress response. What do they need at that time? They need emotional, human, relational connection with their big people. But if their parents during that time were also dysregulated, then they're disconnected from their children. They're not able to provide them with that kind of safety to help to knock that alarm off and give them some emotional rest, okay? So what we seen was a lot of children living in fear during that time, and fear doesn't grow a healthy brain, okay? What also kind of happened is when children are dysregulated, when they're in fight or flight mode, they cannot come to us and say, this is how I'm feeling, this is why I'm feeling like that, this is the impact it's having on me. Why can they not do that? Because they've underdeveloped brains. What age, Craig, do children's brains grow at?
I don't know. All their age till the 21 out of
For girls, it's 25. For boys, it's 27. So what does that mean? That means that they haven't mastered the skill of emotional regulation. They're not able to cope with their big emotions, remain calm and adapt and respond appropriately to it. Yeah. So it's us, the big people, that are doing that.
Yeah, but I get you. I get exactly what you're saying, and you're right, and you're the professional as it relates to the impact, say, COVID would have. But but broadening that out, Fiona, right? You will see out there now that parents mollycoddle the children. Do you know what I mean? We protect them from absolutely everything. You've got 18, 19, 20-year-olds living under the roofs being treated as like they're 14. We've got students heading off to college that don't know a handle of a saucepan from a sieve. Do you know what I mean? Like it's rather than just the major things that I think that have amplified it, like COVID, as you mentioned. Are we just not raising our children a little bit different now that is not preparing them for the tough realities of life that come at you very quick?
What we know for now, Craig, from the science of child development, it is gifted as the answer as to how we raise emotionally intelligent children. Emotionally intelligent children are children who know what they're feeling, why they're feeling like that, how it impacts them, and what they can do about it to help themselves feel better. These are the children who thrive in life and go into adulthood and thrive, okay? So they have gifted as the answer. How do we do that? That all comes down to how we grow them a brain, okay? And it means growing them. How do we grow them a brain that allows them to do that? Is being them trusting us to be able to invite us in to help them to feel safe in that provision of our care, okay? So we have not been taught within our society. We've all gone out to school, we've all learned IQ, but we've not been taught EQ. We've not been taught how to manage our emotions in healthy ways, okay? So when we're not taught how to manage, not only were we not taught how to manage our emotions in healthy ways, emotions in our society were also seen as bad and appropriate. We don't want to see them, we don't want to hear them. So when we see emotions in our children outside of what we deem to be good, we shut them down, we dismiss them, we do as you say, rescue and fix, jump in, mollycoddle them, try and make them better, or we punish them, okay? So what that leads to is the stuffing down of emotions rather than the release of emotions.
Get you.
If I can just finish
yes.
it, because this is really important, that leads to the stuffing down of emotions rather than the release of emotions. Then what happens is that we know those emotions just don't go away. They stay buried alive, and they come out in two ways: through anger and aggression, or they turn inwards through the manifestation of anxiety, depression, self-harming, suicide and addiction. Hence why we've got a pandemic on the ground at the minute in relation to our adult population around violence, crime, mental health and addiction and all of that. So if we now want to raise emotionally intelligent children who are able to cope with their big emotions, reduce the likelihood of mental health and all of that kind of stuff, then in order to do that, then we have to learn to become emotionally intelligent ourselves.
That's exactly where I was going to go, you see, because I know as a parent, okay, sometimes you feel that if you're too tough, and I don't mean tough in any physical sense, but if you're too emotionally tough on your child, we've been conditioned to think, right, if they go off to the room and disappear for 2 hours, are they contemplating self-harm? Or if they storm out of the house, have they gone to kill themselves? Right, I'm going to use the frank language because that's it. We now are so fearful. We, as adults, many of us lack the emotional intelligence to hand that down. And it's and I think this started some time back, and people that weren't emotionally intelligent are now the parents. So you know how do we then make sure we mature emotionally ourselves?
Well, that's where we use now the scientific up-to-date research, which teaches us that in order to raise emotionally intelligent children, the work starts with us. We have a tendency, when children are presenting with big emotions and behaviour, we send them out to counselling. The work begins with us, the big people. We need to learn how to manage. Children learn in 3 ways. So we're developing, you know, when I says to you about their brain growing every day, well, what's it growing? Emotional regulation, impulse control, empathy, critical and logical thinking, the ability to make decisions. That's what we're wiring up every single day, and that takes decades to do that. But if we weren't taught how to do that, then we need to go back and learn that. We need to learn to cope with our big emotions, and we need to learn to respond to their big emotions and behaviours using emotional intelligence, not fear, not being harsh and critical. Because if we're harsh and critical to our children, then when they're struggling, they don't want to lean in and rest in the provision of an explosive bomb. If we're a jellyfish parent, if we're wobbly, fearful, panicky, are they going to do this, are they going to do that, then when our children are struggling, they're not going to want to lean in because they fall flat in their face. So what we want is to raise children now who feel safe being able to lean in and rest in that provision of our care. And we do that by growing ourselves so we can grow them in the best possible way. We are teaching them every single day to master those skills in terms of growing their brain, the same way as we send them out to school. We wouldn't expect them to do a GCSE at the age of 7. Why? Because they haven't mastered these skills. So why do we expect them to be able to cope with their big emotions when they're 9, 10 and 13, when they fully don't develop until they're in their mid to late 20s?
are seeing, I think there's an expectation of young people to maturing earlier as well too. Do you know what I mean? And that's a societal thing.
We're rushing them along in terms of their development.
100%.
And they are not developmentally able to do that.
But they're being exposed to all the horrors of real life, say through social media, for example, when they're literally should be, you know, playing outside.
Yeah.
But how then do we, because the reality of life then is that we're all in a cost of living crisis, particularly here in the Northwest, you know, lowest wages, lowest disposable income, thousands upon thousands of us living in homes that you can't pretend the cracks aren't there, stuff like that. How do we deal with all of that sort ourselves out and then start working on the emotional intelligence of our children. It's overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, and I suppose when I look back at my early years of parenting, I was 19 when I had my first daughter, who's now 26. I didn't really have a clue when I reflect back on it. I had an underdeveloped brain myself. I couldn't cope with my emotions, and I came to the table with my own story and my own stuff as well too, which we mirror onto your children then as well, okay? So I suppose it's really important that I have a wee middle daughter who is 17. She's significantly disabled with a life-limited condition. So when I went in to have her, Craig, she was my second wee daughter. My other wee child was coming into tween years. At that stage in their development, what we also know is that during adolescence, not only is their brain underdeveloped, they're also going through a period of construction. So 40% of their neural connections is being primed while the brain reorganises itself. What does that mean? A lot of times they feel very out of control within themselves. So they need us, they need that relationship to help them to feel safe. Well, when I brought my wee daughter back home that was significantly disabled, I was very much in fight or flight, dysregulated myself. The same as some parents who are dealing with lots of other challenges and the home as well too. And when we're disconnected from ourselves and we're in stress response, then we can't give our children what it is that they need. So when those needs are not met in the relationship with us, they get those met outside of the home. And that's what that looked like for my daughter. Her needs then, she dropped out of grammar school, and it created a lot of problems for her then in teenage years, okay? So how now do we move forward with that? Where shit's always going to come to us. We are always going to be dealing with challenges and stresses and all that kind of stuff, but it's really down to us now. My wee daughter that's significantly disabled, her condition hasn't magically got better. If anything, it's got worse. But as over the years, I've learned to manage my emotions. I've learned to self-regulate, and I have learned now to deal with my teenage daughter and respond to her behaviours using emotional intelligence.
And they pick that up too as well.
I am not parenting no more out of fear. So this all comes down to us educating ourselves and using this knowledge and information. We have got into a way within our society of seeing children's behaviour through the lenses of morality, what's right and what's wrong, and not through the lenses of child development. So when we are making children wrong for engaging in what they should be doing, children are supposed to be chaotic, messy, challenging all over the place. They're supposed to make mistakes and get things wrong. But if we are constantly coming at them, criticising, judging them, shaming them, doing all the fear-based traditional behavioural approaches that we were taught to use, then we are growing their brain every day. That the message that we communicate to them every day, that you're bad, you've done something wrong, you're not good enough, that message over time becomes a belief. That becomes cemented in their soul. And it stays with you for life. And over 20 odd years, that then becomes their blueprint. We're sending them out the door then where they don't feel good enough within themselves. And when they don't feel good enough within themselves, they're always going to look to the outside to help themselves to feel better.
Okay, right. There is an online masterclass coming up on the 14th of June where you're going to give people tips to manage. And I suppose too, we're going to be spending more time with each other over the summer, aren't we? Okay, so maybe it's a great opportunity to work on things.
Yeah.
Not a challenge. I mean, it could be challenging, but it's an opportunity to immerse yourself in this process. So how do people get involved in this masterclass to, I suppose, fix themselves and fix their young people?
Yeah.
Well, fix is not really the right way to say it, but work on themselves.
I suppose the masterclass is really only a snippet of teaching you how to deal with your children's meltdowns and a way where we use relationship and connection. I suppose the bigger kind of picture is I run a program called Parenting with Love and Limits Without Losing It. So that's a really more in-depth program which teaches parents to be able to self-regulate, and it teaches them then to be able to co-regulate their children using emotional intelligence. So if any parent wants to avail of my training, then they can follow me on social media, Fiona Condren, Emotion Matters. I have got in the process of getting a website developed now that should be up and running next week, so that'll be available there as well too. But I suppose, you know, what I would always encourage parents, Craig, is that it's really best to get this information and knowledge in from a preventative point.
Just finally, right, in terms of, say for instance we were all parenting perfectly, which is impossible, what is the one thing, do you think, in a sort of school-going children's age that needs to change, societal wise? Do you know what I mean? So rather than us constantly trying to keep the lid on the pot or playing whack-a-mole, do you see one thing of significance that's triggering a lot of the problems in younger people?
I suppose, as I say, we're now raising children in such a fast-paced technological world as well too, and that brings with it an awful lot of challenges, so with children growing and developing, they're growing up.
Are we bombarding with too much information? Say, for instance, a big topic at the moment, and we're not going to get into it, and I don't want to debate in it or to put you in it, but there's a big conversation at the moment about gender and identity and what have you. Are the children too young to cope with that in your mind, as well as everything else, the other challenges of the world? Like, would you ever not? As I say, I don't want to paint you into a pro this or anti that. That's not my motivation. But it's just a topical conversation at the moment. Do you have concerns that that's too much for them to take on?
I think children are being exposed to an awful lot of outside the gender thing. With technology at their fingertips, they're being exposed to an awful lot of information at a very young age.
Information overload almost.
Overload, when they've got an underdeveloped brain and they're not able to have the capacity to be able to kind of manage that as well. And as I say, we're seeing that on social media with bullying. People can be very negative. There can be a lot of judgment, a lot of body image issues and all that kind of stuff as well too. So there is, but I suppose the bottom line is, Craig, is that our children are struggling at the minute. When they're struggling, they need their big people. They need to be able to come to them when they're struggling.
They'll get it
and
elsewhere,
if we're harsh and critical, they're not going to come to us. And when we're parenting out of fear, they're not going to come to us. So the key here is really equipping parents to be able to be the type of big person that they want their children to be. But what I can also say as well too is that children spend a lot of times in school, and it's important at the minute. There's a lot of children struggling within school as well with emotions, behaviours and mental health, and it's how do we support education, schools and educational professionals to be able to achieve best outcomes in the midst of this kind of crisis as well too. And the approaches that I would teach support behavioural regulation in children by using moments of high emotional distress to be able to teach and coach and guide them to be able to calm down, self-soothe and self-regulate. So it's really important we provide this training not just to parents but also to teachers.
But should this not be happening in schools as well? I think, and we can't medicate and bury our heads in the sand and think, this is going away, because it's not. We have to meet the big people, have to meet head on. Fiona Condren, you can search Fiona Condren, Emotions Matter, if you want more information and details too on that upcoming masterclass, but the wider programme there as well. Fiona, thank you very much for calling in. It's great to have you back on the show again, and we'll chat to you again soon. Okay, take care.
Thank you.
We'll be getting some live music on the way very shortly. Stay right where you are.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
With a high digital online skills course, you'll feel a real difference.
I can listen to all the music I like. The bus app that's coming out, it's brilliant.
Anything you want to know, it's at their fingertips.
They're small things, but they mean something.
Learn essential online skills with simple, accessible lessons at highdigital.ie or free phone 1800 20 30 30. Brought to you by Vodafone Ireland Foundation and Alone. Vodafone. Together we can.
New this week in Home Store and More. All clothes hangers are all half price. That's right, all clothes hangers are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price hangers are gone, they're gone. Also, all camping is still all half price. But when all the half price camping is gone, it's definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Arcadia Retail Park, Athlone. Home Store and More. A happy home.
The groom goes free. The groom goes free. Yes, you heard it. The Groom's Room. Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. The groom goes free. Call in today. Terms and conditions apply.
Now is the time to experience all-electric driving for yourself with the Volkswagen Experience Electric Sales Event from the 9th to the 17th of June at your local Volkswagen retailer. Discover our all-electric cars, charging solutions, government incentives, and our latest market-leading 232 offers. Plus, test drive the Volkswagen ID range, Ireland's best-selling all-electric cars. Available for immediate delivery at your local Volkswagen retailer. Search Volkswagen ID. Volkswagen. Best-selling claim based on latest published figures.
Visit Connolly's Volkswagen at Canal Road, Letterkenny today. Book a test drive at connellys.ie.
At Manor Motors Opel, we're half-full type of people, which is how we come up with the Opel 50/50 finance offer. Choose from the Opel Crossland, Corsa or Mokka. Select your flexible payment option, pair it with 3 years free servicing and meet your new other half. Discover more about Opel's 50/50 offer at the Opel Open Road event. See manormotors.ie for details. Finance is provided by way of a consumer hire purchase agreement by Bank of Ireland Finance. Lending criteria and conditions apply over 18s only. Ownership remains with Bank of Ireland until the final payment is made. Bank of Ireland trading as of Bank of Ireland Finance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
For great value in suits, visit Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Top labels like Rimazumo, White Label, Spectre and Daniel Graham. For the finishing touch, there's also a great choice of shirts, ties and footwear. Extra reductions for all wedding parties. At Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny. See watsonmenswear.com.
With July around the corner, it's time to get your 232 ordered. With low finance rates, it's time to find out why Nissan is dominating the Irish market. With petrol, e-power hybrid and electric models. Call into iMotors today. We're sure to have a Nissan model for you.
House Proud Summer Sofa Sale is now on across all stores. Sofas starting from just £399 plus an extra 15% of everything in store. Scorching hot deals with thousands of sofas in stock and ready for delivery. And buy now, pay later finance available. Call in to our Strabane Superstore located on Abercorn Square or shop online at houseproudfurnishings.com.
Join Derek Ryan for a night of dancing at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, this Sunday the 11th of June. That's Derek Ryan live at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, this Sunday the 11th of June. Pay at the door. Dancing from 9 till 11 p.m.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Over my left shoulder, it's a proud parent. You can see him there. He doesn't think it's on camera, but he is. But we have primary. There's no point leaving now. You've already made the shot. Stay where you are. We have in studio with us a 4-piece Irish indie rock band. They are the Afades. Good morning. Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
Hello. We're speaking. I just introduced you actually. We've got 15 and 16-year-olds Cahir and Grace, and there's two Graces. There's a Grace Murphy and a Grace Nugent, and Kyle Warner. All of you very welcome back onto the 9 till noon show.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Right, so talk to us about this new single.
I mean, it came out how many weeks ago now?
Well, 19th of...
Yeah, so it's been out, like, I'd say 2 weeks-ish, kind of.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
And do you guys feel you've found your spot now? You know, because you're a young band, but you've been together for a bit. Do you think you found your voice now? Do you like where you're at?
Yeah, we feel like we've definitely improved, like, greatly from where we started. Like, even writing songs, you kind of just find your way a little bit more. Like, in actually what you want to play live and what you want to kind of sound like. So
yeah, we're always changing, like, but it's nice, like, you know what I mean? We're kind of getting into a groove a wee bit more. Like.
Yeah, and you're building up your audience as well, organically too, isn't it? It's about getting the music into people's ears and then getting them to the shows when you perform live.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, we just want it to reach as many people as possible. Like,
well, that's it. Yeah, we believe in the music, so we're thinking now, just when we're releasing the song, we wanted as many people to hear it as possible, and then if they like it, they like it.
Yeah. Now you've gigs upcoming in Dublin and Belfast. What's that like? Is that nerve-wracking? Is it exciting? Are you outside your comfort zone, or is this what you've all been waiting to do, or what?
I mean, it's all just like new experiences for us, and that's just what we're kind of welcoming. Like,
would you enjoy it? Because you see, here's a little bit of advice: when you're old like me. What are you laughing at?
Sorry.
When you're old like... This is where someone jumps in. When you're old like me and you haven't done much, you know, you can't go back. So now's the time to do it all.
Like, it's great just being like a local band. Like, we love the Letterkenny scene, and it's been great for us. But, you know, we
the natural progression is to play to a bigger audience, isn't
that's
it?
the goal.
Yeah. And there's different types of people that, you know, you could blow up in Dublin or Belfast. You know what I mean? You just never know. That's the exciting thing. What about the traction online, the ability to get your stuff online? I say this quite a lot to bands, but I think it's such an important part of growing. following nowadays, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be able to get your own stuff on Spotify.
Get it out there, yeah. No, so we actually recorded and done everything for the song ourselves.
Yeah.
So I have a bit of a recording studio up in the house, and done a few days recording, and then I mix it all myself.
Like you get a breakdown of where people are listening to, aren't you? Where your tracks are being streamed, so you're getting streams from all over the world as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, what was our stats like?
Yeah, well, we're doing fairly well on Spotify now. Like, you know, getting it out there it was a bit of a challenge, but we got it, and it's cool seeing we have streams in Germany. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. I would love that. So there's someone in Germany listening to this track. It's brilliant, isn't it? Like,
mind-blowing. Like, it's kind of even hard to believe.
Well,
like,
the world's shrinking for you.
Exactly,
So, you know, and there's a funny thing, I think particularly from the Northwest, our music seems to travel really well to Germany and particularly the Netherlands. You know, there's a lot of acts around here that go and do gigs over the summers over there, whatever it is, anyway. Okay, right, so we're going to hear Only Child, is it?
Yep.
Right, it's out now, which means it's available to stream. Did you do a video for this, or are you focusing just on the audio streaming of it? What's the story?
So the video is still in the works.
Brilliant, excellent, okay. We'll talk about gigs, what's coming up. We talked about the gigs coming up in Dublin, Belfast. How's the summer looking for you? Where are you playing? And
Party in the Park. Party in the Park, big one. Yeah, we're doing that again. A bit further up the bill.
Yeah, we're going. I think we're branching out to Derry now as well.
Great stuff. And what I would love to see, because I would be at a few different events around the county. Yeah, not many, but not as many as I'd like. And sometimes you have periods where there is a crowd, right? There's no band on stage and they're playing out music out of the speakers and people are wondering, when's the live music going to start? I would love to see organisers and promoters get bands like yourselves or others, if you should be up for that, get you up on stage before the main show starts, because the audience are there, they're mad for music, and it gives you an opportunity to play to another audience. Do you know what I mean? And make a few quid at the same time. You know, I do really think that they do amazing stuff, but I think sometimes we're missing a trick there. You know what I mean? That there's brilliant stage time to get you up there in front of a crowd and others. So we'd love to see more of that in the summer. Right, okay. Only Child, who wrote it? Whose fault is it? And how many joking?
I kind of came with the chords and a few of the lyrics and brought it to the band, and then this whole sort of bridge thing then came out whenever we started playing it together, and it really made the song.
Cool.
Like,
so it's a collaborative effort, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Everything.
All right. Okay. Well, sure. Listen. Whenever you're ready, give us a lash. This is Only Child from the brilliant Fades.
You've been calling to me when you say you can't sleep. I don't see purpose of my presence in your futile weeks, and I know you've not got it easy, but I've not slept in a week, and it's driving me crazy. I've been crawling through this space on my mind. You are always the one just crashing behind. Why must you come to me when you're in denial? It's not my fault that you're a lonely only child. And I can't remember last time that I left you, not worried about the future of my remaining youth. Alone, conflicting, complex mind, and I've not figured this one out yet. And that's fine. I've been crawling through this space, call my mind. You are always the one just crashing behind. Why must you come to me when you're in denial? You know it's not my fault that you're a lonely only child.
Yay, well done. That's the Fades and Only Child. And what you've always managed to do, and I don't know if it's how you record it or how you play live, but you really do a great job of recreating the recorded version.
Yeah,
live.
we've never done that song acoustically, really.
Yeah, sounds good.
We know it inside out.
Yeah, good stuff. Right, that's the Fades. When are you playing locally again? You talked about what's it called, the Party in the Park? When's that coming up?
7th July.
7th of July, okay. So hopefully plenty of gigs between now and then. And we wish you continued success. Do you have any influences musically?
We were speaking about this.
Yeah, we were actually speaking about this in the car.
Because you knew it was going to come up.
And we all, for our instruments, we all take very different influences, which I think makes a pretty unique sound.
It's pretty cool.
For the band, I think...
Is there a wet leg? Is there a wet leg vibe there? No.
Maybe.
Some of us love white leg.
Yeah, there's just a vibe. Like it's your own people, but there's a sort of the lyrics and.
Yeah, it might just be the Two Boys, Two Girls. Is it Two Boys, Two Girls?
Yeah.
Is it two? I've never seen The Boys.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Actually, I did. You're right. Okay, listen, come here. Hopefully, it's Letterkenny this year, Glastonbury next year. Why not? But as I say, I'd just love to see you guys, get the stage that you deserve more than you are, especially locally. But you'll go down a storm in Dublin and Belfast. You can check out the Fades on Spotify and also on their social medias, of course, and a video for that coming up as well too. So you get a second band. See if you get to pull that off. All right, thanks very much, the two Graces, Cahir and Kyle, and the parent managers as well in the family. We appreciate you calling in, and thank you so very much indeed. All right, we'll be back with our final segment after the break.
Around the Northwest will be live at Foy & Company's Letterkenny store this Friday the 9th to celebrate Creating Colourful Homes, a 3-day big paint weekend which is on this Thursday until Saturday in both the Letterkenny and Ballybuffet stores. Book a free in-store colour consultation with a Dulux consultant in Letterkenny this Thursday or in Ballybuffet on Friday. Call in and enter to win big prizes like a sofa, mattress, room makeovers, paint vouchers and more.
Northwest Regional College has launched its exciting range of part-time courses starting this September, and enrolments are now open. Whether it's a new skill or a new career direction, there's something on offer for everyone. For course details at our Derry, Londonderry, Limavady or Strabane campuses, visit nwrc.ac.uk/part-time. And remember, enrolments are now open. Future-proof your career with a part-time course at Northwest Regional College.
Have you heard about Charlie's chips? They're made from potatoes that are carefully selected, then peeled, cut, and like everything else at Charlie's in Letterkenny, cooked to order. That's why they taste so good. From 12 right through to 8 in the evening, Charlie's at Pierce Road, Letterkenny offer an extensive menu that includes a great selection of gluten-free options, all available to sit in or take away. The next time the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Disney's The Lion King in Dublin. More to be seen than has ever been seen. Join Highland Radio on our trip on Thursday, 26th of October 2023 to see the award-winning Lion King the musical. Brought to you by Disney Theatrical Productions. Your trip includes luxury transfers, overnight stay at the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin on a bed and breakfast basis, and your ticket to the show. All this for just €219 per person sharing. Call 074 91 25,000 to book. A non-refundable deposit of €100 per person will hold your place. Single supplement applies. To see Disney's The Lion King in Dublin.
What a great job we have to be able to, firstly, listen live to great young talent like the Fades and talent of all ages, but also to give them a wee platform as well. Fantastic stuff. Right, okay, now let's see, can we help Pauline? Hi, Pauline.
Hi, Greg.
Nice to speak to you. Right, okay.
And you.
Missing passport, is that it? What's happened?
Yeah, well, it's my 21-year-old son. We're all members in Greencastle. I live in Greencastle. Went out to play golf. It's open week down there, and he had just arrived back from university, and he had the passport in his coat pocket, and he took the coat off to go out and play at 5 o'clock yesterday evening, and when he came back in, the coat's gone.
Right.
Now, it had his passport in the pocket. I think somebody has, because the locker rooms have just reopened the day before, and he had left. So people are coming in with their golf bags for the first time, and I'm thinking somebody has gathered it up and just stuffed it into the golf bag, or somebody has, while they're getting changed, lifted it by mistake, which happens.
Yeah, it happens all the time. I'm
Club.
sure it's been lifted by mistake. So if you found a blackface North jacket, if you took it by accident, there's a passport in it. But also, and I think, Pauline, you make a great point, maybe you just stuffed it into the big pocket in the bag. If you're listening, please double check the pocket of your bag to make sure that the black North Face jacket, but most importantly, the passport isn't in it, because your young 21-year-old fellow is heading away very shortly and needs that passport.
Yeah, he's flying out. He's flying to England on Tuesday and then to Turkey on Wednesday. It's a trip that he has planned with his girlfriend and her family from last October, and he couldn't speak on the phone. He's absolutely devastated.
He's up to high dough.
Yeah,
right? This is
really is.
And listen, we know it's been lifted by mistake from Greencastle Golf Club. We just appeal to anyone. And what day was out golfing again? Sorry, Pauline.
It was just yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
Evening at 5 o'clock.
Right, so if you were in there, so we know the timeline. So in Greencastle Golf Club, after 5 o'clock yesterday, please double check your bag or your car for a black, because they're very popular, especially in the golfing fraternity. So someone's lifted it thinking it's theirs, or they've lifted it thinking their mates left it behind. It's got a passport in it. It's out there. We just need to make sure the right ears have heard this. I'll stick it up on my social media as well, Pauline, and we'll put it up on the
fantastic.
Highland stuff, and we have to make this trip happen for this.
He's absolutely, because we've tried to get an emergency appointment. We can't get anything down in Dublin.
Yeah.
So we're really, really hoping that somebody comes across it in their golf bag, or in the bit of the car where they've just gathered everything and thrown it in.
All right, okay. So out there, collectively,
appeal to everybody,
and we want collectively people out there. St. Anthony, you know yourself. We need this young fella to get his passport. But as I say, if you were at yesterday evening, a real specific timeline at Greencastle Golf Club, please double check you didn't accidentally lift a North Face jacket, within it a passport, and it sounds like it's going to be a great holiday for him. Listen, fingers crossed, Pauline. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
But we'll get it up on the socials as well, and hopefully get people to share. And let us know if there's any success, will you please?
I will indeed.
Okay.
I will indeed. That's fantastic.
Right,
Brilliant.
okay. Take care of yourself. All right, bye-bye. Thank you very much indeed.
All
Take
the best.
care. All right, you too. All right, some comments to take us up to the top of the hour here. Excellent band and sound from the Fade. Singer's voice is fabulous. Yes, she's got, and it's effortless. You know when someone sings and they have to sort of, or they appear that they're banging it out, it's effortless for her. Love the talent on our doorstep. Hope they go far. What they need is just the right break, the right support. And I've heard them a few times, and I've no doubt that they can make it. Because as well as that, being fantastic musicians and artists, they are four lovely young people as well. Hugh in Creeslough says the Fades are just fantastic. Here, Hugh. I agree. Another person agreeing with me. Hi, Greg. I agree. I'm in my mid-60s and was treated as an adult from I was 16, working in a full-time job. Young adults are not allowed now to grow up. And we do it, I think some of us do it in the name of love, to protect. But sometimes I wonder, do we have to make sure that we're not wrapping them up in cotton wool and holding them back rather than helping them progress? Any comments on that? 086 60 25,000. We'll pick them up for the morning, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. But that's where we have to leave it on the show today.